episode 101 of the Destiny Digest podcast. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Hi.
What's going on? Welcome. Glad to be here. We have a lot to talk about tonight. First, we're going to introduce all the panelists. Thank you so much for joining today as well. We have Tiddly.
Hello.
Hello. We have Samikat.
Hi, guys.
Hey, and we have Eseipha.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you guys so much for joining this evening. Before we get into our conversation, thank you to everybody who's praying for my internet. We have a little bit of housekeeping here. You can join us live every Sunday night around 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/Destiny Digest. When you do that, you can ask questions live in chat and help us shape the conversation for the week. Episodes go live the next day, fingers crossed, on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Pocket Casts. You can help others find the show by rating and reviewing the show on your podcast platform of choice. Also, Tiddly put poop in the run of show.
I was just wanting to see if he would say it, and he did.
I did.
Success.
Every time.
Success.
I'm an adult. It's fine.
Great success.
These show notes are the best and the worst idea.
I am
I will
very
make the
excited
poop.
about them.
Oh, God.
It's gone.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for cleaning up the poop.
Yeah. You're welcome, Markham. Yeah.
All right. So, guys, what have you guys been playing this week? Tiddly, let's start with you, bud.
Let's see. Well, I felt like on Monday I needed to get the heavy metal thing out of the way, and so I was like, "Oh, how long is it going to take to get this sparrow? This will be fine." Like 4 hours later, I still wasn't done, and I was just like,
God.
But contrary to many of the other people on this podcast, I thoroughly adored that mode. I was hooting, I was hollering, I was jumping around, admiring my little snow footprints. I was like getting in people's grill and exploding them. Oh my God, it was so much fun. I loved it so much. And I'm not a PvP person, so I loved it. It was like 100 out of 10 best PvP thing I've done in a while in the game. And it wasn't, my whole stream was just heavy metal, and it was so fun. I loved it. It was great. What else did we do? Been doing some rivals like usual. This season is a dive, seems to be a dive meta, which is kind of crap for healers. Fortunately, I'm a healer main. So that's been hit or miss. Like the comp has been really tough this season, but I'm still really enjoying that. Some more Overwatch Stadium. So just, I did some more Fortnite today.
Okay.
So I'm like kind of like the usual suspects, but I like talking about it. I realized how I play a lot of different games.
No, that's good. That's good.
That's impressive.
I was
The games
shit
exist.
talking
Yeah, it is.
Diablo earlier with Steph before
Very
we got
impressive.
going, because I like Diablo, but I haven't played this season, so that's pretty funny.
You need to
But
play
yeah,
it. You need to play it.
I might. I just like, obviously there's a lot of other games that I'm enjoying right
No,
now.
exactly.
Plus,
Yeah.
I have
for
Claire
sure.
Obscure that we haven't started,
yeah.
that we've been too busy watching Andor, because Andor is fantastic. But yeah, Fortnite Star Wars, I was getting the lightsaber, and like if you get the lightsaber, you get a force ability with it.
Okay.
And so the Darth Maul force ability, you can lift up stuff and throw it at buildings, at players. It's amazing.
I was going to
It's
say, isn't that
so
standard fare for just Star Wars?
That's crazy.
I feel like so I did like one of the good, like the force push one,
Right.
is like from one of the good guys, but I'm like, maybe I'm a Sith, not a Jedi. Maybe I'm evil. This is so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's more fun being evil, like, which is, I guess, is fairly
It's the whole
fairly
point.
accurate.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe I'm just an evil person. I don't know. That was so much
Gray
fun.
Fox
Oh,
in
God.
chat is trying
Yeah.
to tell me to watch Andor. I want to watch Andor.
Yes.
I want to.
Yes.
I want to.
Yes.
I do
What
not
is
want to pay
Andor?
Disney. I don't want
So-
to pay Disney.
It
So-
is. I think, honestly, don't know that I would recommend a Disney Plus subscription. I think we're going to cancel ours
Yeah.
once we finish Andor. which I think all the episodes are out, so that's like it's only a matter of time.
Right.
But Andor is one of the best television like Star Wars TV shows that they put out. So the first
I've
season is
heard that,
definitely more of a slow burn. But it's basically kind of like a prequel to Rogue One, which is also an excellent
Oh, that was
It's a really
kind
good
of
movie. Yeah.
yeah.
kind of like a one-off thing, which is obviously sets up like the original Star Wars. So it's
Yeah.
so Andor is like the prequel to the prequel, right? But oh my goodness, the first season has this jailbreak episode, which is maybe my favorite episode of TV of all time. Like it is
hmm
absolutely so satisfying and so good. It is a little bit of a slow burn on the first season, so just so you know, like I mean, if you want to like just background watch it for the first few episodes, that's totally fine. But like I think it's really good. It's really good. But
Yeah.
I think we're only 2 episodes in on the second season. So yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
I've heard
it's
really good
really,
things
really
about
good.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I've heard
definitely
nothing but good
recommend it.
things.
It's keeping me from Claire Obscura, and I've heard really good things about that too.
You
so,
should you like Claire Obscura
yeah.
is nuts. It is like just a
Yeah.
nutso game. If you like turn-based,
I haven't even played it, and it's
yeah,
probably my favorite game of the year.
I saw your post on this earlier this week, Sammy. Like about like
love
you don't
that.
like turn-based action, like or turn-based RPGs, and you watched all the cutscenes for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So personally, like there's the dodge and the parry mechanics, and I went in. I'm sorry to take some time.
No,
I-
no. You've been talking about the
Yeah.
dodge and the parry because it's skill. Like
Yeah.
it requires a high amount of skill, right? So when you're able to do it, it's satisfying.
Oh yeah,
Kind of like an Elder Scrolls type thing is kind of what people are saying.
ish. Yeah, there's like
Ish.
man, there's just something to it that like when you do it, when you master parry anything. So some hits are like one hit, some hits are two, some of them are combos where like you have to parry two attacks and then do like a jump and then you can parry into that. And it's just so much more active than I expected it to
Yeah.
be. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. And when you annihilate like a huge boss by ripping all those things off, it's cool. It's really, really cool. There was a point this week where I ran into a boss that had like, he had a shield and he had a bunch of cannons along the top and he had a giant mallet in his hand and he stood probably like 5 times larger than I did, right? So, or like my characters did. I'm sorry, I do that with my avatars. So,
It's okay.
he had this like little glowing spot neck on the arm with the shield. And I was like, I gotta try to hit that somehow. I don't know how I'm gonna hit that because like the angle's just not right for me to shoot it because there's like a third person shooting mechanic even when you're doing the turn-based stuff. And somehow I think with one of my characters broke him completely and broke that spot on his arm, and he just dropped the shield and it just created a whole new he dropped the shield, he dropped that
that's cool.
arm, and it shifted the fight in a way where I didn't have to worry about the cannons anymore, but I did have to worry about him using more mallet attacks, and they got more like ramped up as that went along, and that was like so satisfying. So sorry, I'm like continue.
Well,
No,
so
no,
what
no.
did you play this week, Dan? I feel like you played a little bit of Claire Obscura. Would you like to
I
tell
did-
us a little more about this mallet fight that you had?
I did do that. It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
And like, yeah, it was like, that's pretty much it. There's I unlocked a giant character that has like a moon for a face. And you'll run
Cool.
into him soon
Okay.
enough.
Okay.
And he's a trickster. He's a little guy. He's not a little guy, but he's a trickster for
yeah.
sure. He definitely has little guy energy and big guy body. You know what I mean?
Okay, so weird segue,
Okay.
Dan, but have you seen The Adventures of Baron von Munchausen?
No.
It is absolutely absurdist.
Okay.
And it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I made Kepper watch this when we were dating long distance.
Yeah.
And he was like, who is this woman?
Is this
But it's ridiculous.
Okay.
It is so wonderful, but they're just related to the moon. So Robin Williams, who is a treasure, and I miss him dearly.
Yeah.
He plays the moon in this, like I said, this absurdist kind of segment of this movie, which the entire thing is absurdist. It's amazing. And his depiction of the moon is absolutely like crazy. So I feel like if you've seen them, like I feel like you should watch the movie.
Okay, it's
I feel
Terry
like you-
Gilliam. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I like Time Bandits. I like Time Bandits.
Yeah, it has. I think it has like 18-year-old Uma Thurman as like the Venus de Milo. Like it's just the cast is crazy, and it's absolutely like a visual like masterpiece. It's so crazy and good. But anyway, like Robin Williams plays the moon, and he's just absolutely off his rocker, and it's just absolutely hilarious. You should watch it just for that part of it alone.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's
Yeah,
like
I kind of want to watch it just for that.
yeah.
part.
Do you guys, after this call, do you guys
so
just
good.
want to watch that movie together?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't.
This episode
but-
doesn't need to go out
Go
tonight
for
or
it.
anything. But
Oh my god.
yeah. But yeah, so like I played Clair Obscur, and then I have this in the show notes because I kind of wanted to have this conversation with you guys, because I don't necessarily like, it's an interesting thing when you receive a code for a game and you're like expected to cover it, right?
Sure.
And I had the same thing with Doom: The Dark Ages. Like I received a code for that. Not to brag or anything, I do have to say #ad because they
Awesome.
sent it off to me. Cool. There's currently an active strike against Microsoft for their involvement with Israel during everything that's going on there.
Sure.
So my question here for you guys, not to like bring it down, what is the role of the influencer and content creator there? Like, I have an expectation to cover it and to play it and to put out content with it, which I've played a couple of hours of it on stream on Tuesday. I had a lot of fun with it. It was like, it's snappy. It's really good. It also has a lot of parrying and all, like a little bit more forgiving than Clair Obscur. But I'm stuck in this weird moral conundrum of like, do I continue playing this game be like and showcasing it on stream, or do I like am I like, I did my 2 hours, I'm good on that?
I guess do you have any kind of like contractual obligations, or is this more like your personal code you're trying to sort out?
It's kind of like a personal code thing, because like I think my only obligation is to create like X amount of hours, and I think I've already fulfilled that.
Yeah, and
So,
you fulfilled that. I would say that you're off the hook. I would say that you're off the hook there. I also think that it's absolutely fair for creators to decline opportunities and content because of like their belief system. I think that's actually really important.
Yeah.
Personally. So maybe more important than video games.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Before like we played it, I was like, okay, here's the thing. We're just gonna read through the whole reason for the boycott and like read the post.
Right.
And so I was like, so if you don't see this a lot on here, this is why. But like,
sure.
Yeah. It's just,
I mean,
it's tough.
I mean, I have a lot of respect for you for having like the amount of awareness around it to grapple with that and ask that question, because I don't think everyone would necessarily. But I definitely think, and I understand that like it is a privilege to not have to depend on content creation for income, and some people don't have that on there. Just really, they need the income for, you know, food or their apartment or whatever. So, but if you do have that privilege, then I feel like it is important to kind of like, you know, support what you think is right. So good for you, Dan.
Okay. Well, I wasn't looking for an attaboy, but
Well, you get a head pat. I'm gonna put a head
all
pat
right,
somewhere
all right.
in the thing now.
somewhere in there now. All right. I think I know who Tiddly is in the sheet.
Oh,
now,
no!
guys. I
Head
see you.
pat.
I see you, anonymous
Or
Morris.
Dan. I'm writing it in the script, so there you go.
Thank you. Thank
Get a
you.
head pat. Okay.
But yeah, no, that like that was something that was weighing on me this week. Clair Obscur is just freaking awesome. I had a lot of fun with that. I played a little bit of Destiny. I I guess we'll tie in some of the, like the week of Destiny stuff in there, where like I played a little bit of heavy metal as well.
Yeah.
It was not my thing. I played.
Yeah, I saw in the notes
Yeah.
you didn't like it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got tanks every time.
Oh god.
We got tanks every
Really?
time, and we ended up like we got trounced so hard the first match they broke up the match, and I think
Yeah. They
I
do. They have a mercy.
yeah, and I think the player population was so low that day that we got thrown in with
Oh.
the same group again, like 2 more times. So it was like,
No.
all
Yeah,
right.
that happened to me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was not a fan of that. So I was just like, well, I'm done. I don't think I'm gonna come back to this. I like the skimmer better than like the Griffin seems cool, but I like the skimmer
It is
better.
cool, but it's also just to reduce your FOMO. It's also very slow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very slow. I feel like it's more of
Yeah.
a meme than an actual like
Mm-hmm.
tool, like a
Yeah.
useful tool. So I think the skimmer is way more fun.
I'd rather
So
be
you don't
skeeting.
use it.
I'd rather be skimming. You know what I mean?
I think I think you
Okay.
should do that. I think you should skeet
Skeeting and skimming. That's
skeeting and skimming.
that's how we are on the Destiny Digest podcast.
It's gonna be one of those episodes, isn't
It's
it?
gonna be one of those,
I
yeah.
can tell already. Where's Epic
Oh
Dan
my
to ground
God.
us?
Yeah,
What's
yeah, yeah.
going on?
Yeah, exactly. Dan, come back.
Sammy,
Oh,
Sammy
no.
Cat, what about you? How's your week in games, bud?
I'll be honest, I don't really fully remember what all I've played this week.
Fair.
Fair.
Any dungeoning?
I did do some dungeoning.
Yeah.
I didn't stream a whole lot this week. My health has been kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
But since doing Spire of the Watcher, again, I soloed that when it came out
Mm-hmm.
last or the week before. Yeah, I sold that the day it came out through under Eternity, and I was like, okay, I want to see how this compares to regular Spire of the Watcher. So then I decided, okay, I've been wanting to do this for a while. I want to replay through all of the dungeons again. Solo with all bows, you know, my general Samikat
Yeah,
default.
the Sammy special,
Sure.
as it were.
Yeah, the Sammy special, as people say it. So I want to do that with all of the dungeons and do kind of an encounter tier list,
Mm-hmm.
because I have a tier list that I came up with looking back on the encounters, how I first experienced them.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to compare that to how I experience them now,
Okay.
coming back to them and just where the encounters sit. So I haven't redone Spire of the Watcher yet on normal or the regular version outside of Rites of the Nine. But
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
it's interesting going back and then thinking between the then and now of my experience, because they're running the dungeon encounters and the player experience in general have changed so much over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of like, okay, this is what I thought about Prophecy back when I first played it in 2020 or something.
Yeah.
And now here I am. I'm like, okay, should I try and recreate that? How would I even recreate it? It was hard before. So it's
Yeah.
been fun going
Yeah.
through and trying to figure out, okay, how do I want to adjust the experience to try and get the best then and now
Mm-hmm.
comparison.
So you're saying, do you feel like it's power
Yeah.
creep that's
I
why
think
it's a
it
lot
probably-
easier now? Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember the cube room being actually a lot, and then also the boss room with all the ads spawning in Prophecy was challenging. Like I
Mhm.
remember trying to use cover, and then you have the ogre shooting, and you're like, "Where's my cover? I don't know where to be." So because usually, I think they've said this before. The devs have said that they try to do linear combat where you're here and the ads are coming at you in a line from the opposite end of the room, and that they aren't spawning behind you necessarily. So the boss room encounter before the DPS is one of those spaces where ads are everywhere and you're just like in the middle of all of them, which is, you know, I don't know if it was newer for the time, but it definitely is something that Bungie has been doing a little bit more of. But yeah, Sammy, I totally feel like it used to be a lot harder than it is now.
It was a little disappointing because
Mm.
Yeah.
I did I was random rolling them. So I did Prophecy first,
Yeah.
and then later I done Shadow Throne after that. And that's a big one of the then and now comparison because I was lucky if when I did it first with what was it? With my loadout. I was like, okay, I have to make sure I can do this to where in the ogre encounter, I stay alive and I get it within 4 phases. Like it was hard.
That
to do
yeah,
it.
and now the
Yeah.
boss just falls over.
And
Yeah.
now it fell over. I wasn't
Yep.
expecting it.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
was just really sad about it.
Yeah.
It almost,
Mhm.
the boss, defeating the boss was almost like a jump scare.
Oh.
And
Mhm.
instead of
You're like,
being
wow, that
scared,
seems
I
dead.
was just sad.
Oh.
It was a jump morn.
Womp womp.
Yeah, it was a jump
Yeah.
morn.
Jump more.
Yeah. Did you play anything else this week, bud?
I got to a good stopping point, I think, with Blueprints.
Okay.
I think I'm done with that game.
Yeah.
And then I'm ready to start Clair Obscure at some point.
Nice.
Yes.
I want more of it. I need more of it.
Yes.
Have you been watching people stream it, Sammy?
Funny that you bring that up. So I had really wanted to play it because I heard all of these good things about it, right?
Mhm.
And I ended up asking my best friend, Corey, if she thought that I would be able to get the full story without having to play it just by watching the cutscenes. And she's like, yeah, I think you probably could. So I'm like, okay, I think maybe I'll do that. And then one of my other good friends, another streamer, started playing it. And I'm like, okay, well, this will be a good jumping off point where it's kind of like, okay, I'll watch him play it for a while. And then I'll think about it. I did not have any plan to ever pick up the game and play it. But I wanted the story. So then when he started it, I was watching and I wanted to see like the first cutscene. And I knew what was coming. I knew the premise of it.
Mhm.
And the cutscene starts and he's talking. I'm like, you are talking over the cutscene. Will you just be quiet? I am trying to listen.
Oh,
And
man.
once it hit me that like, okay, I'm getting upset at a streamer. I know,
Mhm.
typical ATP. There we go. I'm getting upset at a streamer for talking during his stream while I'm trying to watch a cutscene. I know there's an issue. So I went and found this really, really good edit
Mhm.
of
Oh,
all
nice.
7 hours of cutscenes, primary character interaction. And the first couple minutes, first and last few minutes of each of the big fights, and I watched it straight through. It was 7 hours.
Oh wow.
7 hours. Wow.
7
That's a deep
hours.
dive, Sammy.
I know. Well, because I
So
had
now,
to see
but
the
now
first
you're going to play
cutscene.
it too, right?
And then I had to find out what happened in Act 1, and then Act 1 finished, and I had to find out what happened in Act 2,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah. Yep.
well, you can't. It watches like a movie. I'm not even
Mhm.
joking.
Oh,
that's
the
It
cast
watches
is great.
like
The
a
cast is great.
movie.
The way that they were able to like capture everything, just awesome.
it's just insane. And 7.5 hours.
Okay, so I get it though. Do you remember that weird delivery guy sci-fi Hideo Kojima
Oh, yeah.
console game that came out?
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Do you remember Death Stranding? And it was so weird. And I was watching people play it because you kind of like basically deliver packages around this post-apocalyptic landscape, and you have like a baby backpack or something. The game is crazy, but I was fascinated by it, and I did exactly the same thing, Sammy. I was like, I don't want to play this game because the gameplay looks really
Yeah.
boring, but I want to know what happens because I'm fascinated by this, how weird it is, you know? Like, I get it. I feel like I respect it. It's also, I feel like, I don't know if you guys agree as streamers that sometimes playing story games is really tough as a streamer
Yeah.
because
Oh,
people,
so much.
it's definitely a little tough because some people like miss pieces of it, and then they're like, well, maybe I need to go back and thought, or you're coming in
Mhm.
and out, and there's people are like, oh, there's spoilers, so I feel like that's a little tough. But
Or somebody
yeah, I
comes
get that.
in and they're like, "Oh, this is my
Yeah.
favorite part," and then like they
Oh, my
accidentally
favorite part, and you're like, oh, spoilers. Come
yeah,
on,
they spoil
buddy.
something,
Mm.
Stop it.
and like
Yeah.
yeah, it's and I also find it like it can be kind of tough, like interacting with a game like that too, like
Yeah.
interacting with your audience while you're playing a game like it. I mean, you do have the battle scenes and everything, or the battles that you can easily interact with
Right.
while you're doing something. You can explain what you're doing, or you can like you can have a conversation about
Yeah.
shoes or whatever. Right? I think we had.
You're
we
like,
had one
but yeah,
in the
but if you're
chat.
talking about shoes in the middle of a cutscene, then Sammy's
yeah,
gonna
it's
get
piss
mad.
somebody off. Yeah, so like
Yeah.
that's tough because
then I'm gonna have to unfollow one sub.
yeah,
Like,
exactly right. Yeah.
Of course,
how
rational
it works.
reaction.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, those they can be tough. They can be tough to play.
Mhm.
One of them for me.
I will say.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go
No.
ahead.
I was gonna say Metaphor ReFantazio is like that. Like it's very much a story game. Hard to get chat like really talking during the thing because there's just so many cutscenes in between everything. And then
Yeah.
like yeah, that one was kind of tough for me as a creator. So I just was like, well, this is an off stream game now. Like I'm just going to play this off stream and enjoy it myself. So but go ahead, Sammy.
Oh, I am really, really glad that I ended up watching it all 1st
Mm-hmm.
and then going back. I know some people were kind of like, "Oh, so you ruined it for yourself. You spoiled it all for yourself."
Yeah.
And I can honestly say, I do not think I would appreciate the game, and I do not think I would have appreciated the story as much
Right.
had I not watched it all first. And I got this sense while I was watching through all 7 hours of it, and I was watching some of the actual battles. It was a really weird and interesting experience because I was thinking the whole time, like, I would have hated this in game. I honestly, I would have hated to have to play through this battle, probably been very bad at it, especially trying to learn these new mechanics and learn to parry and dodge and just this general combat that I don't like yet.
Mm.
Right.
Trying to get through that when all I want is to know what else is going to happen in the story.
Yeah.
So now you can kind of experience the combat without the stress of like wanting to
Yes.
get to the next thing.
Right.
You can enjoy the game, enjoy the gameplay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that doing it this way, watching all of it and then going back, since it is such a massive game and it is so hardcore story,
Mhm.
I think that this will benefit me, especially with my personality type and my ADHD. I think that this just is better.
Sure.
Yeah. More than fair. More than fair. So I guess moving from there, I see a skeet in the show notes. Moving on from there, we have I had it for the panels week in Destiny. We have the Rites of the Nine, Spire 2, Spire Week 2, with the attrition modifier. What did you guys think? What did you guys think of that modifier on this activity this week?
Attrition? Are we? Is this going to be a run back of that GM modifier that you could really bad at?
Look, here's the thing. Like that one, I don't think attrition is as bad as that one from the dungeon modifier. Or
What was
like,
that one? I can't remember.
it was the one where you had to shoot a machine gun, and then you had to shoot like
Yeah,
a
you had to
submachine
swap
gun, and then like
weapons.
yeah, and like it locked
Yeah.
you.
Oh,
My
that.
grievance was that it locked you in to whatever
Sure.
bullshit that was,
Sure.
and it forced a play style on
Awful.
you that was
So-
Yes.
god awful.
I feel like attrition is kind of bad,
Mhm.
but I've done a couple ultimatums since, like this week. Just hopped in, and it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, because you actually, if you do hide, you do start regenerating health like
Mhm.
eventually. So if it was a really dire situation, I would just hide for like
Yeah.
a really long time until my health came back. But man, it is a lot, especially when you have enemies that are dropping arc on the
Yeah.
ground, and then you're supposed to run into the arc and you take damage while you're trying to heal at the same time. So it's like one of those unfun modifiers, I would say, for the game.
Kalish in chat is
Unnecessarily
saying,
unfun.
yeah, Kalish in chat is saying that as a support warlock, attrition isn't that bad. And
Yeah, I mean, if you have healing and recovering at your fingertips on cooldown,
Yeah.
but if you're a Titan that likes to punch things that explode, it's a little different. Okay, Mr. Kalish. All right.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Sammy, did you play any of the ultimatum version of?
No.
Okay, gotcha. I played a little bit of it today. I did attrition wasn't all that weird, like you said, like because I just swapped over to a warlock and just kept running the thing, right? Because everything was on cooldown. Like we ran into some other issues, but those were skill based.
Oh man, I ran my husband through, and we're still married. So
yeah, that's good.
God.
Congratulations.
I don't know if we're gonna survive ghosts though. I don't know if that's gonna.
Yeah,
that might be the end. It was a good run. It's a good
it was
run.
a good run. Yeah,
This might be what the straw.
Yeah, we're gonna this is kind of like the first note in the TWID. So we can kind of go ahead and talk about that too. There's also the we did the Eternity one that had the modifier on it where like you have to keep moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, we helped out a lot with that, and it was fine actually, like because there's not a lot of points in Spire where you're just kind of like stood still. You're constantly moving in that thing.
True.
So like that didn't really affect it all that much. Yeah, I thought this week it was fine. Moving, I guess from that we can just hop into the TWID section of this. So earlier this week, it was revealed that or I think it was last week, it was revealed that it was like a 3-week rotation. Or no. It was earlier this week, because last week when we were talking about it, I remember this because I was editing everything. When I was editing everything, I remember like Dan being like, 3 weeks? And like, he goes, no, I think we're going to get Ghost of the Deep next week. I think that was the general consensus for the panel, was that everybody thought it was coming.
We all assumed.
Yeah.
Man, we were wrong. We were wrong.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
As soon as Reset hit, I messaged the group chat and I was like, oh crap, it's Spire
Mm-hmm.
again. What happened?
Yeah.
We were so wrong.
Well, we were basing it off on like what Bungie used to do, which is like
Every other time.
Yeah.
1 week,
Yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
they were like, oh no, this time around we're gonna switch it up. Not a bad thing, but
Yeah.
it was just like they didn't talk about it at all.
Yeah.
So when it came back up, like people were like, oh, is it a bug? Everybody thought it was a bug.
Yeah.
I
So it
think
was like, is it a
they
bug?
did talk about it during the reveal, but that the verbiage they used
Yeah.
was not specific enough for people to unpack it correctly. And I
Yeah.
think that people just assumed that it was going to be the week release rotation because that's what it had been in
Yeah.
the past.
Well, and then,
So,
like it's one of those
yeah.
things where like 1 or 2 extra sentences would have helped out a lot, right? Like it would have helped everybody have a little bit more information, and it would have taken 5 seconds to spit out. You know what I mean?
It really was just a communication situation. But the community was really mad. People were mad.
I've got
Very
the
intense.
tweet.
Yeah.
It was May 14th that they had to clarify it. It says, during Rite of the 9, each dungeon will be available for 3 weeks before rotating. There will be a final week when all 3 dungeons will be playable, and the schedule is, and they gave out the schedule. Said each week will provide additional quests for holofoils to help Guardians get their hands on curated gear alongside dungeon exotic rewards. That was quickly rolled back by a tweet from what was it? This was from the same day. I want to say it was 9 hours later. They were like, "Hey,
It only took 9 hours. They're like,
Guess
hey.
Our planned Rite of the Nine dungeon calendar will be changing. Each dungeon will be featured for 2 weeks as opposed to 3, and we're increasing non-array manifold currency drop rates, which can be exchanged for additional weapons. With this change, Ghost of the Deep will now launch next Tuesday, May 20th, followed by Prophecy on June 3rd. So, that was... It was just confusing because, like you said, Seth, every other time that they
exactly.
that they release something on a rotator like this, whether it be a dungeon or a GM or an exotic mission, like those are on weekly rotations.
Right.
We
right.
haven't really had it where it's like, oh yeah, for 3 weeks you have just this.
I wonder why that's the case. Are they trying to fill space before the DLC comes out? Like that's the only thing I can think of. But also thinking about Pantheon, do people feel like Pantheon was too compressed? Like maybe they're trying to react to feedback from that. Like it just seems like logically,
I think you're right.
releasing like having one for every 3 weeks is just a bad idea. It just seems like a very logically bad idea.
I think you're not wrong, because some of these past events where it was like challenges like that did feel a little bit squish.
Okay.
Like I remember feeling myself like Pantheon, and I mean I had people that helped me, like great people like you,
Sure.
Mitch, so on and so forth, right? People that could help me get through it.
That was so
and I
fun.
still remember that it was like once a week, and you had like I think 4 weeks, 5 weeks. I don't remember exact timing, but like if you didn't get it done that week, you were kind of screwed.
You were under the
Not
gun to
fully,
get that
but
done.
kind of screwed. Exactly. It was like kind of difficult because people were moving on. Like that week, you do that thing that week. Next week, you do that thing that week. People didn't really want to go back, which is fair. Like nothing wrong with that. But because people were like, no, we're keeping the pace. Let's call it that. If you were unavailable a week, or if you couldn't get it done one specific week, you were kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Yes, you could still get it done, but it was way harder. So I think that maybe that's part of the feedback they kind of, I don't know if it was feedback that was given, but I think it was something that people expressed. They're like, it's very fast paced. It's difficult. That's the whole point of Pantheon, for example. But it's really difficult to get it done if you missed a week because of personal reasons or whatever, right?
Sure.
So I think that's part of that.
Part of
I
the
think that the
reason.
other part of the reason, which is not a bad thing, it's just weird that they didn't talk about it beforehand. That's the weird part. And I think the other part is, like you said, are trying to fill in time.
Yeah, maybe.
Like they did with Into the Light. But Into the Light was built differently. Like it was a different schedule. I think that right now, what is kind of not helping them is that Into the Light had really good weapons to kind of chase, right? And every week you would unlock new weapons. And so like the first week you could go for shinies of, I think it was 4 or 6 weapons. I don't remember, whatever. And then you would unlock 2 or some whatever new weapons every week, and you could go chase these shinies, right? And the pacing of it was a little bit better in my opinion. But the issue they're facing right now is Spire's a great dungeon. Love that dungeon.
It is.
The weapons, it's a great dungeon. It's a really good dungeon. I enjoy that dungeon a lot. But the weapons are good. But they're not great.
They're not great. Yeah.
So it's not helping the whole thing. Doing the dungeon for the sake of doing the dungeon, for the challenge of it, absolutely. It's a really fun.
Sure. And the title, I mean, Eternal is a great title name. I'm really excited to grind the title.
Exactly.
So like,
but 2 weeks of it
for the challenge and for the triumphs and the title, like I get it, but like people aren't grinding it for the shiny guns, you know?
Exactly.
They're just doing it for the title and the cosmetics and stuff.
I mean, personally, I am. I you know, yeah, for sure.
And then you're like, oh, I've done the things for the title, so I'm not really gonna touch it anymore because there's nothing for me anymore. Unless you're helping people, which is different, right? If you're helping people, you're like, okay, I'll keep running it over and over again.
I actually helping people has been so much fun. Like, you know,
which is great.
So I was in bed and CG was doing LFG helps and just hopping in, and they had somebody quit, and I just hopped in and joined, and it was so much fun.
Which exactly. So that's like, the other part where like,
it's honestly, it's really great for content creators, and also for viewers. Like I love watching people do contests. Ultimatum helps on the dungeon, and I love I feel like it's really great for streams helping people with challenging content. But oh my goodness, I definitely think they should have done released them on a 1-week rotator and then just left them up.
Yeah.
So just let people.
I
It's a
think so,
limited
too.
time availability
Yeah.
anyway. So just leave
Yeah.
them up. Let people, like, and then people could do cool challenges like back to back to back.
Yep.
Contest ultimatum speeds or something like that. Like I don't
The-
know. Like I feel like the community is gonna come up with some really cool things.
The
And they
only-
already have
Yeah,
like
for
the
sure.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. No, no need to apologize. The only thing that I can think of. Excuse me.
Mhm.
The only thing that I can think of is engagement. Like,
Yeah,
They-
100%. That's what
they-
they're doing.
yeah, they don't want to release all 3 in like a 3 week time span and then be like, well, like if you did them all those weeks, then you don't need to come back, right? Like,
Sure. They're trying to it's essentially they're using it
Yeah.
as drip content
Mhm.
for like
Yep.
saying like,
it's
hey,
a very shrewd way of
it's-
doing it. Yeah.
They're like it's like
Yeah.
a combination of FOMO and drip content. They're like, well, if you don't do it, well, it's on the rotator. If you
Yeah.
don't, and then we're just gonna
But,
release
yeah.
it to you slowly to make sure our engagement numbers, so we can sell more Eververse
Exactly.
items, are consistent and sell more.
Because-
I don't
And
know.
we can ride
Yeah,
into
because-
the edge of fate with like some
Exactly.
pretty good numbers. Yeah.
Exactly.
it's-
Because we all know it's the end of a season. It's the end of like, well, a big content drop. And a lot of people usually they wrap up their season like a few weeks, sometimes a few
Mhm.
weeks early. Some people start a few weeks early. And then a lot of people are like, oh, that last week I'm not playing. I just want to break, right? I want to break from the game so I can come back
Sure.
fresh to it. But then they're
Sure.
like, oh, yeah, no. We're not going to do that this time
Yeah.
around because if you want that title, you're going to have 2 weeks of every dungeon. You're going to have to do those dungeons if you want that title. And then that last week, that very last week where people tend to not really play as much,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have access to all of that. So if you want to like catch up on that title, then now you'll be able to do it. So it's a way for them to keep people playing
Right.
in a way.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Um,
But it feels bad. It feels like they're telling us what to do, or that it was a marketing decision, or
mhm.
like it doesn't feel like a decision that was like organically thinking of the player,
player,
base and
yeah.
how they would react or how they would best like to consume the content.
Mhm.
So
The spreadsheet that Cbro put together about
look
it. So
for that.
this week, the first 2 weeks we had Spire. So May 20th and 27th, we're going to have Ghost of the Deep with extra loot for Ghost of the Deep being on the 27th. We have
Okay.
Prophecy June 3rd and the 10th. With extra loot for Prophecy being on the 10th. And then we have 4 weeks of all 3 being active. So, like, honestly, I think, if anything, I'm
that's
going
exciting.
to not focus on getting those done, like, getting those done within those first 2 weeks. If I was just like an average player,
yeah.
I would just wait.
You have time.
Yeah.
You're not, and then Samikat, we can do yours all at the same time. Like
Yeah.
we did for
Back to
Pantheon.
back to back.
Right.
Okay,
Like
but
we did
Best Player in the
Samikat's
Day was fun.
That was really fun. That was really fun. I don't know if I'm gonna do that with you, but like I feel like that you should do that again for sure, Sammy. That would be such
Oh
fun
my
content.
yeah,
to
what we
do
did
the-
for
We need to-
Pantheon.
Yeah,
Is
you should do it
I
all at
wait-
once
need
again. Yeah,
till the
that was
last
so
minute.
amazing.
and
Back
did it
to
all
back
in
to
one
back.
day.
Yeah.
Oh god.
But even
I
then,
remember doing
like,
that back in the
so
day.
the second half of episode 100, which episode 100 is out, you should go listen to it. We answered a question that was asked on night 1, which like, which weapons are you looking forward to from these? And going back to like, yeah, there's not really anything. There's like some things to chase, but when the chase is low, wanting to get in for gear is tough.
But here's the thing. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so the gear is just regular gear, right? No matter what version you play, what version you run. Is it?
I
If
want
you
to
run
say
Ultimatum, it's just regular gear, right? It's just maybe good rolls, but regular gear.
I want to say that you get like well, for armor I think it's regular. For weapons you do
Okay.
get some
No. Yeah,
adept
yeah.
and
No, armor.
health oil stuff.
Yeah.
and-
Okay. So here's what they could have done, especially for Spire, since Spire kind of lacks a little bit in the weapon department. I mean, again, they're good weapons, they're just not great weapons.
Yeah.
What if for Ultimatum, if you had an armor drop, it was Artifice armor?
Like that would
I
make
think it's-
sense.
I think that's a tough
think-
sell considering the rework. I mean, Eddie
Oh,
made
yeah.
the comment in chat that's really smart. It's part of the reason that we're not as wedded to the grind because they're adding like the tiered system for weapons and the armor is, I mean, everything is going to change very soon. So is
That's
this, is
true.
what we're going for relevant? And especially
Okay.
armor. I feel like armor is
Okay.
just going to be,
Then
Yeah, go
I'd
ahead.
argue, don't make it drop armor in ultimatum. Just weapons. Why are
I
you
don't think it
dropping
does.
armor? I think it does.
I mean, I get armor, but it's
I could be
not
wrong
like,
though.
it's not good armor. It's,
Yeah.
I get like
No, but
normal armor
it's the
drops.
thing, right? Like,
It fills out the
okay,
sheet.
if I'm wrong, do correct me. Do correct me if I'm wrong. But I feel like ultimatum, if it drops armor, it shouldn't drop armor.
There's no armor in the dungeon. I've only had weapons as
There's
guardian
no.
photographer.
Okay,
It's all
that's
weapons
good.
adept
I
on
feel like I've gotten
ultimatum.
them.
On
Yeah,
ultimatum,
yeah,
says Sean.
Ultimatum.
Ultimatum.
Ultimadium.
Sorry.
Ultimadium.
Ultimatum. Okay,
I'm sorry,
then
I
that's
said it
good.
with my
but
British
I just,
accent.
But
Go
I
ahead.
see what you're saying,
Ultimatum.
Steph. Like give some kind of like more juicy reward, like for
Yeah.
a
doing
little
it.
bit, or maybe
'Cause that-
maybe like ultimatum, make it double drop on the final bot. I don't know. Give me something a little bit more, especially
I mean-
Spire, because Spire lacks some stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that their give is if you complete it gold on ultimatum. Actually, I think if you do it on the other ones too, like if you complete it gold with one death, then it
Yeah, you
gives
do
you the
get more
double
stuff.
perks,
Yes, yes,
which
yes.
is nice. Like
Mhm.
getting double perks because you have one gun that can do
Yeah.
more in your toolkit than single perks can. But I think I see what you're saying. Like, I definitely feel like there is loot motivation to rerunning
Mhm.
and engagement. And if the loot isn't good enough, then
Because-
people aren't
Yeah.
going to engage. So,
Exactly, because like
Yeah.
you're all content creators, so you have the possibility of doing helps or doing
Sure.
challenges.
Yeah.
Or
we have
so on and
reasons
so forth.
beyond loot to regrind.
Exactly. You
That are
have
not
like
connected
other
to us getting anything in the game. You know?
exactly right, which is good, and I'm really happy that this is helping a lot of content creators for like helps and stuff
Sure.
and so on and so forth. But like as Mr. and Mrs. Everybody or like whatever, like
Mhm.
me, for example, Spire. I'll keep Spire because it's the only example we have right now. But I ran Spire, enjoyed it again, and I really like this dungeon. As a general dungeon, I really like this dungeon, and I did the Explorer solo. I don't know if any of you guys did. By the way, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. But as a Mr. and Mrs. Everybody, since there's no really any great weapons, there's not really an incentive for me to go and play it again.
Mhm.
Right? So I think like the everyday gamer is gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna do my full run, my regular run, my gold run for ultimatum, and then I'll be done because there's nothing really that interesting to farm in it. I mean, you get shinies, sure, but again,
Mhm.
the weapons are not that great. So getting a shiny of not great weapon, it's just gonna probably collect dust in your vault and it's gonna take a spot, right? So I feel like I don't know how they could make it a little bit more interesting for this specific dungeon because again,
Mhm.
Ghost is gonna have a bit more interesting weapons, and then Prophecy has quite a few good weapons or really interesting weapons. So Prophecy is probably gonna be farmed a lot.
Yeah.
But this one was lacking in a bit in that regard, in my opinion. So
Mhm.
I don't know.
I mean, completely fair. Like I said, I like last week. I'm just looking forward to that glaive.
Yeah, I know.
Moving on from Rite of the Nine, we have
No, wait. I do
Oh.
have a question. Did you guys do Explorer mode? Did you guys try
I
that?
did not. I did
didn't.
not.
Epic Dan
No.
did last
But
week.
Dan,
Hey,
yeah,
Dan.
people, we had a good conversation about it, like some really positive feedback
Mhm.
about
I
Explore
love
mode.
that. I love Explorer.
Episode
mode.
100.
I really hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope they do more for like every dungeon. But I strongly like if you guys can do it, strongly suggest
Yeah.
trying it out solo, especially solo. Like do it, like try it because it's really worth it in my opinion.
Yes. I've seen this sentiment several times in chat, chat and in on the Twitter and everything else. Is like people wish that this was available for raids to help teach. Like I think that would be wonderful. Like just a thing for people to hop in together.
Yeah, I think we talked about that on the
Mhm.
podcast too. We talked
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
a sort of a teaching mode in raids
Yep.
for people to learn for things such as Verity, where you don't want to be fighting unstoppables while you're trying to teach someone how to do a dissection, you know?
Right.
Like being able to kind of take the ads away and
Mhm.
just have people run through that would be so good. So good.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay. So we good to go?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just wanted
let's
to talk
move
about
on.
that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So heavy metal left on Friday. In the TWID, they said that the event will return in
Here.
the future and rewards will be
Yes.
earnable on return. We already talked about I didn't really care for it, so I'm fine not going back to it. But
That's okay.
I loved it. It was a hoot. It was so fun.
I will say
I think
interacting
it has
with
a
the
lot of
card was cool.
potential.
It was so fun.
It has
Yeah.
a lot of potential. It
Yeah.
needs to be refined. That's my biggest takeaway from this. It has,
Oh.
again, bring back fun, kind of quote unquote stupid game modes. Please, Bungie,
Yeah.
do that. Please continue to
Arcade
think of
modes.
these ideas and bring them.
It really-
Exactly.
We had this conversation last week, Seth,
Yeah,
before I
exactly.
played it.
Yeah.
And I did, after playing it, I did feel like it was very arcadey.
I mean, that's a great thing. Like, please
Yeah.
keep doing that, Bungie. Please bring back
Yeah.
these modes that are just for fun. They're not serious. You just go, like Scorch, for example, is another great example of that type of game mode that is already implemented in the game and works, in my opinion, pretty well. I know a lot of people don't like it. I actually do enjoy Scorch. But bring back
Yeah.
these kind of like funny, not serious, like just really like you go in to play and just mess around. Please bring that back. I just think that heavy metal needs some refinement. It is a bit slow. We talked about that, and the map was just not it. I'm so sorry. But if it is refined and they work a little bit on it and make it just iterate on it, I think it has potential. It really does have potential. So
Yeah. I'm trying to find Destiny the meme had like an excellent post about heavy metal.
Oh,
where
gosh.
it's just like
Yes.
how a brig moves, and it's just like it just moves across
There's a tank.
horizontally across the thing, and then the tank goes up and then down, and it's just all over like the place.
It's like spin.
It was beautiful. It was really good. I don't know if that was on Twitter or if that was on Blue Sky, but that was like such a cool. It described my experience perfectly.
It was so fun. I loved it. Bring it back, baby. Let's go.
So this week they increased Trials of Osiris ranks. This weekend the map was Dead Cliffs. Weapons were Aisha's Care, skeet. Increased reputation gains were given when completing matches. Did anybody hop into Trials this week?
No.
Lol. What a question.
No, unfortunately not. Or
No?
fortunately not.
Just
No,
nobody?
I didn't. I mean, I haven't played Trials. No, I don't think so.
I
Maybe
think I
Dan
played
would have had,
Trials
but
like 3 times, 3 weekends
Yeah.
ever.
it's just they made changes. I think the changes they made were really good. I haven't played much since then
Mm-hmm.
because before they made those changes, because it did take a bit of time before Bungie finally made changes to Trials. I just got burnt out. It was like the population was so low. You were always playing against like these cracked gamers, and it made the whole experience not so great, like not so fun, because it's like, oh, I'm running this card, I can't really lose, which was the whole point of it, which is fair. But like, it's like, oh, okay, cool. But then the population is so low. My last few games are gonna be against like really good gamers, so I'm gonna lose my card.
Mm-hmm.
So I got kind of burnt out on Trials this way, for me at least, and I was like, I'm just not interested. And when they made the changes, there was just nothing really that interested me. I mean, I might go for like the armor, but that's just like you just play and you get it at some point, which is great. Thank you, Bungie. Keep doing that. But I don't know. I haven't felt the want to go play or the will to go play Trials in like quite a long time, which is sad because it used to be kind of a fun thing to do here and there.
Yeah, I haven't played it in ages. But yeah, I don't know. I like it's cool. It's cool that I think Aisha's Care was a new weapon. Is that correct? I think it was a new
No, it's been
No?
out for a little bit, but I
Okay.
think they might have reissued it.
Gotcha.
I'm not sure. But it's a scout if I remember correctly. It's not a bad scout. It's actually a pretty good scout. But again, I think that's another thing in Trials right now is that the weapons are good,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not great. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I'm not a PvP
Doomhammer
player.
says that it has some new perk options, and Sean in chat says the shotgun is a returning
there you
weapon
go.
and both drop together. So
Okay, yeah.
I mean-
Oh yeah, it was double drop.
Aisha's is a heavy strand pulse from Final Shape, says Sean.
Yeah, there you go. I remember that.
I don't know. It's tough, like with player population stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of what they're a little bit struggling with right now, and they're trying to bring back people like me, like random player. But it's not. I don't know. I don't feel the interest in playing trials recently, which I don't know what would bring me back either. Right? I don't know. Double drop maybe. I don't know.
Maybe
It's
a
weird.
loot. For me, it would be like a trials gun that was excellent in PvE, like a meta PvE gun would be bring me back. And then I would just play it to earn that and stop.
Right.
or armor, but I feel like the current armor set is actually really nice. I just haven't gotten in to get it, but I feel like it's really good looking too.
I fully agree with you on that one.
Bring a lot of people in. If they made a trials bow, that was a lightweight.
Oh, there wouldn't be any other specific reason why you particularly would want that, right?
Hear me out. Hear me out.
Wait, there was a bow.
There are no lightweight strand bows at all in the game, though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Specifically that. Okay, sorry. Because I was like, there was a trials bow. I got it. It's actually a pretty good bow. I like that bow.
So mad though because of all the PvE
Yes.
people going into trials, but you would get your population.
Yeah,
You would
exactly.
get your
You would get your population. You would get your population. I think the tough part is I don't know what they would release that would be good enough at this point, just because the power creep is so crazy. Like, and all of our weapons are so good. Like, I don't even know to make something even stronger, like, or better. I'm like, what would they even put out that would be enticing? I don't even know.
Or strand rocket sidearm.
A giant
Or
mallet.
stasis rocket sidearm.
Rocket sidearms are great.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Strand
I've been using
lightweight
a lot of
bow
my
or
void
a
one.
stasis rocket sidearm.
That Lotus
Or
Eater
is it
goes
what's
hard.
we have one? What's the one that we don't have of the rocket sidearm?
There's the arc.
Oh, or kinetic. Yeah, there you go. A kinetic.
Just regular
there you go.
kinetic.
Well, we have a strand, yeah.
We have solar. Solar came with the first season this year.
There's combinations.
Oh yeah, we do. It's the
aberrant
aberrant action. Aberrant action. Yeah, that's true.
Prismatic.
Oh my god.
Oh,
yeah, there's
boy.
a lot of rocket sidearms. I see. That's what I'm saying. Is like I have everything I need.
Yeah,
you can't bribe me to play trials anymore.
How dare
I'm
you
free.
even try? So
anyway,
yeah. Moving on from that, we will have Iron Banner next week.
Yes.
With the Nature Reclaimed Solar Scout Rifle being on offer. It's a lightweight frame with PvE and PvP fan favorite perks, and can be focusable once in collections. Is anybody planning on hopping into Iron Banner next week?
I don't know.
I
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't. That's the thing. I'm like with Sammy. I'm like, oh, I should. Do I want to? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to. I just don't feel like it's like not as fun as it used to be, at least to me. Like, I'll say something I've said before, but Iron Banner to me was more of a social thing. You would grab like 6 friends. Like you would grab a stack of 6, go in, roll or get rolled. And that was the whole thing of Iron Banner. You went in just to kind of like mess around with friends. You would roll some teams. You would get absolutely rolled by others, but it didn't matter. It was just for fun. It was more of an arcade thing, going back to the arcade thing. It was more of an arcade thing with friends to just spend time with friends and just have a laugh and just, go play PvP with some good peeps. And then now it's just not that. You can't really go 6-stack because if you do, you're facing sweat.
It feels very sweaty. I think that it used to be more fun to actually usually Iron Banner streams are great content and they're super fun, even as a PvE player. Like I love hopping in. But when you play Iron Banner with your community, you do tend to 6-stack.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
that was the whole point of it.
Exactly. And so when you make it really sweaty to 6-stack, it becomes less fun.
Right.
It's
It
not
make- it
fun
becomes
because you
less fun.
can't really
But-
6-stack. If you want to have fun, you go 4, maybe 5, maybe 5.
Right. And
But
so
if
I
you go
have
up to
some really
5,
good people in my community who won't even play Iron Banner on stream because
Mhm.
they're like, I'm not going to do anything higher than stack. It's like I just won't
exactly.
go in.
Yeah,
higher
and
than a
it
3-stack.
it makes it sad. You're like, oh, I
Yep.
can't really play with people.
Yep.
Other than like 3, 4 is like the sweet spot. 5, you're starting to face some sweat. 6 is just sweat fest. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, so
Yep.
it's just going back to regular PvP. What's the point other than the rewards are different? I would very much prefer if they went back to the oldish formula where it was like you could 6-stack. Again, you get stomp. I don't care if I get stomp. But I don't
Mhm.
want to get stomped every game. I don't want to be sweating my ass off in a game. I just want to have fun with buds and just
Yeah.
shoot the shit
Yeah.
type of thing. Like, please bring that back.
Yeah.
I
Please. And
feel like
will
they
go
really
back to
tried
Iron
to
Banner.
lean, especially with it as a rotator with trials. They really were
Mhm.
trying
Yeah.
to lean into Iron Banner as being kind of like a premier top tier competitive
Mhm.
It's
like
not.
playlist. And it's interesting to hear you describe it that way, Seth, because I've always thought of Iron Banner as kind of like, I don't know, kind
It's
of like
for fun.
towing the line between like goofing around
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
being competitive, but I think they really like, maybe it wasn't the best choice to kind of lean into the
Mhm.
competitive
I think
part of it
I
because
think
Well-
they went too much with that. They went too much with the competitive side of PvP with every game mode recently instead of keeping some of the fun in it. And now there's not many game modes that are fun for everybody.
Mhm.
I think that's kind of what's missing in PvP. We talked about that a little bit before, but like
yeah, I mean, even
Iron
quick
Banner
play,
is a
like
great
we,
example. Yeah.
we used to just hop in quick play in Destiny 1 for fun. Like it would just
Yep.
be kind of like it's a Wednesday night and what do you want to do? Let's
Yeah.
just
There's
hop
nothing
in
else
and
to
play
do.
some
Yeah,
quick play. And
exactly.
Yeah,
God,
that's what
I
I
don't even think
did.
I had a positive KD in Destiny 1. Like I was so bad. I am still so bad.
But it
But
didn't
it was
matter.
still really fun. It was
Yeah.
really fun. Just like kind of like
Exactly.
hanging out
'Cause
and like
You didn't
talking to
care. It was
people and
exactly
it
that was
used
the
to be so
whole
fun.
point of it.
Yeah.
And that's what it was for Iron Banner 2 when Destiny 2 started, and for quite a while actually, in my opinion at least. Again, it can be a little bit competitive, it's fine, but like I think every game mode, when they did the rework for PvP, every game mode became
Mhm.
competitive, and I'm like, I don't care. If I want competitive stuff, I'll play trials or I'll play
Sure.
comp. Other than
Sure.
that,
So-
just let me go mess around. Let me shoot a shit.
Someone in chat asked, like how many of us are playing on PC versus console? Like I'm
Sure.
console all the way.
I play PC.
I'm PC
I'm PC.
also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, PC.
So that could also have.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely. I'm guessing console lobbies
100%.
are probably feel different than PC lobbies. I feel
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
if you consider yourself like a very serious PvP player, you're probably going to be playing on a PC
Yeah.
at this point. And then complaining
Probably.
about like aim assist for control.
right.
Uh-huh.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
that's
Hate
it.
aim assist. Oh,
Mm.
So with that, so Nature Reclaimed, I actually have I have it pulled up on Foundry here.
Mhm.
It does have so in the third column it has Outlaw, Killing Wind, Rapid Hit, Shoot to Loot, Lone Wolf, and Heal Clip. And then in the fourth column we have Desperate Measures, Box Breathing, Explosive Payload, Incandescent, Precision Instrument, and Kill Clip.
Mhm.
So I can see that being useful, like in some
Oh
PvE,
yeah.
PvE
No,
engagements.
there's some really fun perk combos
Yeah.
there. Like I haven't finished Duo Witness, but like in my Duo Witness runs, I was using a shoot to loot scout.
I was using
So I feel like
Vulpecula a lot for that. So like,
I feel like a shoot to loot scout rifle. That's probably the role that I would want. I would probably want shoot to loot with a damage perk on it,
with explosive payload, just so that it's like
Or,
grabbing
yeah.
everything.
or incan. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
I don't.
still
Didn't they patch that down? I think that was like,
Oh,
or is
I
that
don't know.
still really good? That like the AOE of explosive would pick up extra amp,
I
like it
don't
would give
know.
you more radius on the shoot to
Oh,
loot.
I
Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. I
I
remember
feel like
that.
they patched that though. I don't think that's a.
Well,
But
oh,
maybe
it's been
somebody in chat
patched.
knows. It's patched. Yeah.
Damn you.
Yeah, that was
Anyways.
actually crazy when that was a thing because everyone was like, "Oh my god, you explosive! You can just like,
Yeah, it was really good.
yeah,
Really good.
bastards."
But
yeah.
I don't know if like the weapon is worth the pain of Iron Banner. Because again, at least to me, Iron Banner is not enjoyable, right? So I'm like, oh, good weapon, great. And I get other stuff, great. Is it worth going to bang my head on the wall and not really being able to play with friends?
Well, the question is it better than something that you could pull out of your vault right now and use?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Does it fill a
Yep.
space for you in an activity that you're doing that something else in your inventory isn't filling?
Yep, agreed. 100%. I don't think a lot of weapons really do that, and not a lot of weapons are really worth that grind.
Mm-hmm.
And some weapons don't really require that much grind, or the grind is fun. That's another part, right? Again, if the grind is fun, I don't care doing the grind. But very often, in my opinion, the grind is not super fun. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I'm trying to look here at my vault to see if I have like a lightweight scout. I don't have a lightweight scout, so it might be something that might be worthwhile
Might be
for
something that
me
you'd be interested in.
to go and grab
Yeah,
it,
yeah, exactly.
especially in the
Yeah.
energy slot. So like,
I might want one for the shoot to loot, and like I even with the sweaty like 6 stacking in Iron Banner, it is still a really fun stream. Doing an Iron Banner stream is still really fun because it's fun having a lot of people in voice, and like it's fun, goofing around and like making plays and having hero mode. Still a really fun stream. So I may just queue one up this week.
right.
Yeah.
It's
The last-
Master Ghost week, so I will not be.
Oh,
in
you will
Diamond
not
Yeah.
be.
Oh no.
I will not be in anything but Master Ghost.
Oh wait, so it's
Oof.
Master Ghost and Ultimatum Ghost.
Oh,
The
that's
same
an
week?
interesting.
Well, oh, okay. Here's the. I'm not proud to say it, but
Okay.
Sorry.
2 things. One of which is a bit petty for me to say, but
Okay.
Okay.
everyone's all like, "Oh no, we have to wait 3 weeks for Ghost to the Deep." What? We're gonna have to wait 3 weeks. We can't do Ghost to the Deep yet. I have been waiting for 5 weeks for Master of the Ghost
There it
of
is.
the Deep. All I
There
do
it
is
is.
wait for Ghost of the Deep.
Yep.
Don't give me that shit. I have 0 sympathy for you for waiting for Ghost of the Deep.
Sammy been waiting.
All I do
funny.
is wait on Ghost of the Deep.
Sammy been waiting.
Did somebody
Oh,
clip
that's
that?
So funny.
I had to get that out. I'm sorry.
I have
funny.
no
I'm sorry. I'm not
sympathy.
sorry at all.
Please.
If you
do
complain
it.
about this, you're going on the naughty list.
Get over yourselves, people. This is what it feels like to wait for Ghost of the Deep.
Beautiful.
Funny.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second
I
part
loved it.
The second part.
Yes. Please go ahead.
is I'm glad that it is Ghost of the Deep. I am. Because I think it's healthier for the community. On a selfish note, though, is that if I complete Master Ghost of the Deep, finally, by the way, I'm at almost 1,000 deaths. So this is how much I put into this. So this is how big of a deal it is if I complete Master Ghost of the Deep this week, right? I guarantee you if I do, when I put that clip on Twitter or social media, there's going to be at least a handful of people that say, "Oh, it was Master. Well, why didn't you do it on Ultimatum?"
Yes. Yeah. They 100%.
Oh, you did it on
will.
Master?
Yeah.
That's really not that
100%.
impressive.
Yeah.
because
The
people are
minimizing
doing
the achievement
solo
thing. Yeah.
flawless
Yeah.
Ultimatum.
Yep.
So Master really isn't as good as Ultimatum. Why didn't you try and solo
Right.
it on Ultimatum? So
I hate
automatically, if I complete this thing, I have been working since September 9th of 2023 and have close to 1,000 deaths. If I complete it this week because of Rites of the Nine, it's already going to be lessened
overshadowed.
perspectively.
Yeah, I hate to
overshadowed.
say it,
Yeah.
but probably whenever you complete it, people are probably gonna say that just because
Yeah.
they suck. Yeah. At
I
this
hate
point,
people suck.
because they released an ultimatum mode, people are probably gonna say it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It's like, do
Yeah.
I wait another 5 weeks to complete?
No.
No,
Do
get in
you.
there and be proud of yourself.
Do
and,
your
and
shit.
heck the haters.
Yeah.
Heck the haters.
Yeah.
Live your life. You be proud of yourself.
Agreed.
That's a huge accomplishment, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah. Do your shit.
I'm gonna give you a head pat too. Get a head pat.
Yeah.
Thank
Throw,
you.
throw a head pat in the channel.
Head pat in the. I'm gonna put it in the document.
There
Head
we go,
pat for
thank you.
Sammy.
You.
Thank you for putting a head pat in. for Sammy and the
Thank you for the
document.
head pat. Thanks for the support, guys.
Good shit. Good shit, bud. Head
Thanks
pats
for
all
letting me
around.
say what I really feel about
Yeah.
Go So Deep and waiting
Let
for
it out, Sammy.
Yeah.
Let it out.
And next week we also have Hardware Supremacy coming to the PvP rotator. You pick up motes for points, and Super's abilities will be turned off.
Ooh.
Just shoot stuff, pick up motes, abilities, and Super's
Yeah,
off.
sounds sweaty. Are
Yeah,
they
sounds
they're
sweaty.
trying to go a little more COD with it?
Sounds like I'm
We're
not
like,
gonna be
there's
there.
too many abilities. I don't like Destiny PvP because you can you have healing grenades and shields and supers. Let's just make it like COD. It'll be way more fun.
Cool.
I have some doubts about the new mode. I will not be going into the new mode.
No, I don't think so either.
I feel like heavy metal's more up my alley.
All right. Everybody strap in because this segment here. So that was the TWID. But other things happened around the world of Bungie and around the world of Destiny this week. On Thursday, Bungie's upcoming game Marathon, which is slated to release in late September 2025, came under sharp scrutiny when UK-based graphics artist Anti-Real alleged that the Sony-owned studio heavily mined their portfolio for the aesthetic of the game. The artist accused Bungie of copying images and elements from their poster designs going back to 2017 without the artist's permission. Later on that night, the Marathon dev team account confirmed that a former artist for the game included Anti-Real's artist decals and a texture sheet that eventually made it into the game. The Marathon dev team account also claims that the current art team didn't know about the issue and they're reviewing how the oversight occurred. This investigation will include conducting a review of Marathon's in-game assets, specifically done by that former Bungie artist, and implementing stricter checks to document all artist contributions. Bungie stated that they have reached out to Anti-Real and that they are committed to do right by the artist. This is one of several incidents, I think, from a thing that I found online, where Bungie has had to settle up with an artist when one of their assets has inexplicably made its way into promotional material or in game.
Oh, God.
The current situation also arrives as Bungie is in court over plagiarism claims for Destiny 2's launch campaigns, the Red War and the Curse of Osiris. But on a personal note, I'm going to say that last court claim is bullshit. Because the dude just yeah.
I don't know. It's I haven't followed that one, the Red Legion thing. I haven't followed that one. But I've said this before we started this episode. You know, it happens once. You know, maybe it's just bad luck, something happened, you know, whatever. Like it could happen. That's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but life. Second time, okay. It's kind of weird, but maybe it's still, you know, bad situation. Somebody didn't somebody saw something, didn't remember they saw something, and then whatever. Not whatever, but okay. A third time? Ugh. Fourth time in 4 years? You have an issue at your core.
Well,
something's not working.
I will say this too, is that this seems like it is the first time. Like I have the chart up here that Rosado posted together, and it's we had with the Witch Queen trailer, used fan art of Xivu Arath in trailer without credit. They later credited the artist after it was noticed. There was a cutscene in 2023 where the artist Julian Falona had near identical fan art used in a cutscene. They apologized and compensated the artist. And then in 2024, it was the Nerf gun, right? Like artist Tofu Rabbit had their design copied. And they compensated and credited the artist. Each of those times, I think it was stated that it was like a third-party company that did it, because I understand what you're saying. Like, I'm just trying to give more context here too.
Sure.
No, I agree with that. Because to me, it feels like, I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying that's what it is, but it feels like an easy way out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it is. It could definitely be a third party. But then you still have an issue of not checking your third party's work then, right? Like there's something that's still like not functioning correctly internally. It's still an internal issue. Because
Yeah.
and the thing that kind of makes me laugh and not in a good way is that I don't know if you guys remember, like for years, years, people have been asking Bungie to let artists in the community come up with design and use those same designs, kind of like a la Warframe, right?
Mhm.
Warframe does that a lot, where they source a lot of their designs from the community and the community artists, and then the artists get paid through like a scheme, like a really good scheme actually in Warframe, where people can actually, I don't know if they can make a living out of it, but they can make pretty good money out of just making stuff for Warframe. And
Mhm.
people have been asking Bungie, please do that. Please like implement ideas from community artists, because some of these artists have really cool designs and they're really great. And for years, Bungie was like, no, we can't do that. Legal ramifications are too complicated, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember the whole spiel, but I remember it was a question of legal stuff and it was complicated and blah, blah, blah. Okay, fair. But then this happens and they did the right thing. They did compensate the artists, which really good. Please keep doing that. That's the
Mhm.
right thing to do. But it's still like, okay, there's kind of like a dissonance there that's like not really working. And they did start to work with artists in the community for designs and stuff, but still, I don't know. There's like an issue internally for review, because if
Yeah.
you work with third parties, there's no issue with working with third parties, but you still need to review the work. And I don't know, there's just something kind of weird with this whole situation, to me at least.
I think I have a couple thoughts. I
Sure.
mean, I feel like this is definitely an ongoing problem, and they need to have something systemically in place at the organization to prevent this from happening. I think that should have been in place the first time this happened. You know, some kind of like
exactly.
review you know, of all the stuff that they're putting out. Like if this art was out there, this anti-reals art was out there, I don't know that it would have been super hard to do like a Google image search
Right.
of that, just to cross-reference and make sure that it's okay. Like they need to have something systemic put in place to ensure that this doesn't happen again, and it doesn't look like that they have done so.
Yeah.
I also in this particular case, it's saying that it was done by a former Bungie artist.
Yeah.
Like turnover obviously is another big systemic problem at Bungie, whether it's people leaving because of the environment or whether
Or
it's
the layoffs.
it's layoffs that have
Yeah.
happened.
Yes,
Like super
exactly my
specifically. So
thought.
as soon as I saw that, that's exactly what I thought about him. Oh no, they laid off some poor artist that maybe had drafted this as kind of like I don't know,
Idea
like an
board or
image board,
something.
like you know,
Yeah.
not
That's
something
what
that
I
they would
was
actually
thinking.
copy and paste into the game.
Right.
But because they weren't there to communicate that, because Bungie fired them,
Yeah.
that now it's
Yeah.
turned into this massive lawsuit copyright issue.
There's
I also feel really bad for the artist, because they said specifically in the article that they don't have enough money to sue
To
a
pursue,
company
yeah.
and to take it to
Yeah.
like, it really does feel like a David and Goliath, like
Mhm.
and Bungie is not on the good side on that.
Right.
No.
So I did for folks who are listening to the show tonight. There is there's going to be a bonus episode that comes out this week where I spoke with Irresolute and Dr. Jones last night, and we also talked about
Yeah.
this, and
Yeah.
they have a lot of there's a lot of really good insight there from the artist's point of view too.
Sure.
And highly worth a listen on that front.
Sure.
For this, like that's the best case scenario, is that somebody saw the art and like put it into the game as a placeholder. That's the best case
Sure.
scenario, right?
It really is. It really is.
And
And
even
that conversation got lost.
yeah, and even
Because
then,
if this was done willfully, it's like the difference between like manslaughter and murder, right? Is intent. So it's like,
Yeah.
what was there like malintent here? Or
Mhm.
was this just a really horrible organizational
Mhm.
accident? And I hope it was.
yeah,
You know, but
Some-
even if that's the case, they can they need to show us that they can prevent this from happening in the
Mhm.
future.
something that was brought up last night in that conversation was like, also, what's the state of crunch right now on Marathon? Like,
Yeah,
where
it's an
something like
interesting
this
point,
yeah.
can kind of like sift through the gate and make it into the game, right? Because
Right.
like
Right.
and it's clearly such a sticking point that they wouldn't even show any game footage in
Yeah.
the Play MA that they did this past Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like, do you guys think that there's any chance that this game comes out this year?
I do. I think that they still can do it. I it's just, oh man, this is just, it's tough. It's tough because I feel like there was a lot of criticism during the alpha already. I mean, I think that a lot of people, for better or for worse, have concerns about how niche the game is going to be and how mass appealing it's going to be. And then to kind of stumble on this copyright plagiarism issue isn't good. It doesn't bode well. I actually really like, not for a consumption standpoint, but from like a lover of video game standpoint, I love it when video games are delayed, because to give them the time and space they need to do it
Same.
properly. So
Yeah.
I would say
Same.
I would be absolutely very, very happy if they delayed it further, just so they could get it right. And also ethically to do the right thing, with the copyright and the art and, all that. So delay it. I get it right. Honestly, I'm all right with that.
They don't really have a choice. I mean, the art stuff, somebody also brought up the price scheme that's unclear for this game. It's not free to play. A lot
Yeah.
of those other type games in that same kind of type or that genre are usually free to play. And then, the wiping stuff and so on and so forth. I feel like they're going to have a hard time selling this game if it's not free to play, and then, I don't know, buy like
Sure, that
seasonal
was another
stuff
point
or
of
whatever.
contention.
And you
Yeah.
also had,
Exactly, right?
like, less than a month after the alpha, right? You had the tests for Arc Raiders, which both of those are extraction
Oh, I
shooters,
remember that.
right?
Yeah.
And like,
Yep.
from
Arc
what
Raider
I'm-
received really good reviews.
it was Arc Raiders.
I heard it was excellent. I
very-
heard it was so
Oh, yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've
Yep.
heard nothing but glowing things about Arc Raiders, like
Exactly.
from
Yeah.
people
So much
outside
so
of
that now there's a
the
meme,
community.
Arc
I
Raiders,
know.
Yeah, and so like
which is brutal.
it's tough. Like there's two of these games coming out this year, and like people seem to only have like one, like room for one in their mind. Like something like this.
But that's
from-
a lot of times. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what happens often. If you have
Yeah.
like two very similar games, if you bring them out the same year, one is gonna take to the shadow and the other
Mhm.
one's gonna shine, right? And I
Yeah.
think that currently Arc Raider is really gonna shine
Mhm.
because glowing reviews, people cannot stop saying
It
really good
is
things about
very
it.
much word of mouth. Like that
Yeah.
is absolutely
Exactly.
so important.
Mhm.
And I think
Yes.
that Bungie's aware of that, because they're asking people who are playing the alpha, would this game replace a game that you're already playing? I think that game studios in general are hyper aware currently that
Mhm.
there's
Very
a massive oversaturation in the market of games,
Mhm.
and that it's not, they don't just have to put out a good game, they have to put out a game that's going to compete for
Mhm.
time against like all the other
Other
games
games.
that
Yep.
people are playing. And like for me, like I just listed off 5 games this week that I was
Right.
just casually dipping
Yeah.
my toe into. So like
Yeah,
it would,
exactly.
in order to find, and like I can't play Diablo right now because I'm like, time to.
Yep.
So that's gonna kind of push the side. But I think that studios are really aware that like in order for it, like, but Bungie is aware that in order for this game to be successful, in order for Marathon to be successful, it has to replace game time space, like, and compete with the other games that people are already playing. And I
Well,
think it is really unfortunate because Marathon is good. Like I played the
Mhm.
alpha. It is actually really fun. I feel like with some movement tuning, I would absolutely pull it up on a weekend, like in a Fortnite situation,
Mhm.
and just hop in with friends and have a good time. Like I feel like has so much potential, and it really does feel like a Bungie shooter.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah, I think that's the best selling
I'm
point.
I definitely about it.
It
I
feel-
think it's not just the time; it's
Mhm.
money too, right? In the current like economical situation, a lot of people are
Sure.
not ready to shell out money on that type of game
Oh yeah.
or any type
Especially
of
with
game.
tariffs on
To
the
be
way.
fair,
Sure, Fortnite. The Fortnite model
Exactly.
really turned the industry on its head with kind of like
Yes.
a free to play and then a cosmetic, a really appealing cosmetic,
Exactly, but
market.
it's
Yeah.
and then
I'll
it
be
is
honest
it's
here.
like
I don't feel like Marathon will succeed if it is released within the next 6 months.
Mm.
No,
So
truly
you
I
would
don't. I
like it
agree
to
with
be
you on
delayed
that.
also.
I think that
Yeah.
regardless of
I
how
think it needs
different
to.
they make it, I think regardless of anything, there is absolutely nothing that they could do to make it a good game, even if it is ground up, redone, completely perfect. Everyone loves it. It would otherwise get great reviews because Bungie's name is attached. I think
Yeah, they need a
that
little bit of
there is
space.
no way it's going to be a good game because Bungie's name is attached to it right now.
It's they're struggling on a lot of like different fronts
They
with
want
that. Like
people want Bungie to fail. And with this,
that.
it's too new. It will fail.
There's vocal
It's
people
just-
who want it to fail. Like,
Well, that
Yeah.
it's just such a bad situation right now, right? You have like all the lawsuits kind of happening, the claims about stolen art. There's people just mad at Bungie in general, and like fair whatever. Like there's just a bunch of stuff happening, and then there's just the entertainment industry is in an absolute crisis mode right now.
Oh my
Mm.
god.
Like the whole of the entertainment industry.
we
is in
drove by a
full
local
crisis mode.
theater that just closed down, Seth,
Yeah.
this
Exactly.
weekend.
No, but
And I was
you know what
and we had an interesting conversation about consumption of entertainment consumption and how that's really drastically shifted in the last 5 to 10 years, even
100%.
especially with COVID accelerating that. But I was just
Mhm.
astounded that the theater shut down. But I just think it's a sign of the times, and I don't know. I had a point, but
It's no. But you're right. Like it's just there's so many things happening, right? People have less money, like less spare money to put on
sure,
entertainment because entertainment is spare money, right? You're not gonna put money on entertainment when you need to pay your rent, pay your like groceries and other stuff, right? So that's already an issue for them. People are going out less since COVID. That's another issue. The prices of stuff in general since COVID
more
has just
expensive. Yeah.
everything keeps rising all the time. Now the tariffs add that on top of that, and so
Yeah.
on and so forth. But even like just as a general thing, like I was watching, there's with two really interesting videos. I'm gonna try to find them again. But one was saying about how Hollywood is just like people that work in Hollywood are just everything's just shut down now. There's no production. There's nothing. Everybody's just been laid off because the studios don't know what to do. They don't have money, and with the strikes happening, they just don't have money anymore to do the work, and so they just go into foreign countries. Like they go international to go do stuff. So in the US, it's just dead. And then you hear talks about the gaming industry trying to revive IPs first and foremost because original ideas are so hard to sell, right? So they're using old IPs trying to revive them. But then now you hear the talks about like, oh yeah, new games are going to be $90.
Yeah.
When people have a hard time shelling out money for like 80, 60, $80 game. So it's like, what is happening? So Bungie going with a game that specific type of game, usually that genre of game is usually free with cosmetics and stuff. And now they're saying, no, you're going to have to pay for it. When Destiny went free to play, which is the type of game that you can actually sell, side note to this, I'm sorry to say, it's just a weird decision.
I just don't.
And like Sammy said, people want Bungie to fail, which I mean, the sentiment towards Bungie right now is really bad ever since the layoffs. It's been really bad.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think they need a breather. They need to put some space in between some stuff and just
at the same time they have to
work on
pay
it.
people, So
And
there's
I fully get that. I
like
fully get
there's
that.
a real economical kind of like tension here between like when is the best time to release it, and then also how are we going to pay people if we don't release it and make money off of this game, because like I think we're talking about two very important resources, time and money. And
100%.
as a video game consumer and creator, like a content creator, like I feel like when people are looking to find a new game, they're trying to say, well, is this worth my time? And is
it worth my money?
Right. And you're talking about money a lot, and I was talking about time more so. But I think that those are they're both limited resources. And I think that
100%.
I definitely think even like a $30-$40 entry point is going to be a limiter. It's going to for sure be a limiter to access.
I
agree.
I don't see them launching it without that though, because
no, I agree. And to be fair, like to a certain extent, I'm kind of like, yeah, like it's okay to pay for a video game. Like I think that the
100%.
mindset around that really shifted years. But like you used to buy your video game, put it in, back in the old days. Like,
But
okay,
that's the
grandma,
other
time to go to
thing,
bed.
though.
But like you buy your game, you play it,
But you
and
used
then
to
you're
own
you
your
bought it
game.
and you're done. Like,
But
I
that's
don't
the other
know.
thing. You used to own your game. That was a big difference, though.
Mhm.
But like, I think your time stuff is also very important because
Yeah,
there's so many games, right? And like, yeah, you're gonna invest money in some of them. Some of them are gonna be free to play,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. But it's also like a time stuff. For example, I play less video games recently. So whatever video games I'm gonna play, it's probably gonna be quote unquote a comfort game, a game that I know the systems, I know how to play it. I can find some friends that play it, or I can play solo, right? Either or. But like I always go back to either Destiny because I know how to play Destiny. I have some friends that I can play with, so on and so forth. And I know this game like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
Or I'll go back to Diablo 4 currently because it's a game that I know the systems of. I can like, yeah, it's a new season, whatever. Some stuff have changed, sure, but overall the core of the game is the same, and it's a quote unquote easy game to fall back to, and I can just go back and try new stuff, and I've already
Mhm.
paid for these games, right? Like I don't have to invest more money.
Right. You
I
don't
can
have to
just
put more
invest
money in. You already put money
exactly.
in.
And my time is easier because I know the game already, so I just go back and do whatever.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
yes, the time management, like learning a new game, it's for some people it's overwhelming. Like, oh my
Right,
god, you have to
Right.
learn
I think
all
that
these
for
things.
me, that's the barrier to entry for why I don't
I
play more
fully get it.
games is
Mhm.
because
Yes.
learning a new system,
Oh, a lot of
remapping
work.
the controls on my keyboard, like all of that
Mhm.
feels kind of onerous,
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah,
not it's that also for sure.
I fully agree with that. A lot of work.
Yeah, it's just
Anyway.
I personally like I want Bungie to succeed because like
Same.
there's people that work there. Like there's people that work there that are
Yep.
passionate about what they do, that are trying to put out a good product. It seems like C-suite just keeps throwing out rakes, and because of those rakes, we start seeing other things trickle, like other details get missed down the line of what that looks like, or the like quality work.
Sure.
Like the dude, what was that? Was that Cross on Friday? Joseph Cross, dude looked miserable
Maybe.
the entire time that he was like
He
on
looked
screen.
awful.
He looked.
That was so awkward.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it,
Oof.
but I heard there was a lot of issues with that.
Yeah.
It was
Stream. Yeah.
uncomfortable.
I watched like
Yeah.
and I've barely
10 to
watched
20
any
minutes of it. I watched 10 to 20 minutes of it, and I was like, I can't do the rest of this.
Oh, that
Like,
bad?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh.
But
and chat was you would
Chat
think
was-
that chat would
Yeah.
be almost abusive if it didn't in some way feel warranted.
mhm,
Oof.
It was an
Yeah.
awkward situation. It was just a very, awkward
It probably should have waited.
situation.
It probably should have
It
waited.
should've.
Yeah, they probably shouldn't
Yeah.
have just gone ahead with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too
One-
bad.
Wow.
One bright thing that came out of this, had nothing to like has nothing to do with the game necessarily, but there was there was a post on Twitter by an artist named Poel. Did anybody see this? It kind
No, I
of it
haven't
went
seen it.
viral over this week. I'm gonna post a link to it in the chat because this was an education on the aesthetic that that anti-real like especially features in it starts out like, why stuff marathon looks like this. Heads up kids, do your homework. I give you a starter. After Designers Republic hit hard in 1996 with Wipeout, there were several other design studios who took up the torch. Case in point, Bionic Systems. And like they had like, it's just a really interesting like history and like spotlight on all of these designers who work within this aesthetic, anti-real among them, that is just, it's so comprehensive, and it made me miss Twitter, like for this, for this kind of like institutional knowledge
yeah,
that is
sure.
being shared,
Yeah,
and
I
like,
agree.
but the ending is succinct in a, on this. This whole situation is, this is Poel speaking on the last 2 tweets. This whole situation is now corporate speak managed to some decals in texture sheet should not have been there, which feels very dishonest and also puts the whole great design work of a lot of involved people at risk. Which brings me to, if you are Goliath, the responsibility lies with you to ensure that your vision does not get tainted. And when the design language is your big selling point, make sure to do your homework. And that was at Joseph Cross.
That is so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was saying about David and Goliath, and like doing the bare minimum research in order to like make sure that they're not doing this crap in the future. You know, because I think that one of the huge like it's so true. One of the biggest selling points of Marathon, like the vibe, the style, like sort of like the sci-fi futuristic, like the weirdness of it is cool, you know? And if that's plagiarized, then you're like, oh God, that's not great. That's terrible look for you.
Yeah, man.
One thing with it that I find is a very interesting, I don't know the right word I'm looking for. It's a conundrum in a way, is that this is an art style that seems very, very weird and odd and art there and very niche, and in a lot of ways it is
Cyberpunk
but
adjacent.
at the same time
Yeah.
this is a big type of established art style for multiple decades. So it's not like Marathon is the first of its kind with this art style. It's not like there's anti-real and then what we see now with Marathon. I mean, this, like that thread you showed or posted, goes back. This is established and it's developed and it's highly technical in a lot of ways and it's very intricate. It's not something you can just steal and then create an entire game from. You have to have actual like knowledge and education of it to be able to successfully put it all together into the game. So yes, what we see a lot of anti-reals.
Well, specifically assets from anti-real.
Yes, assets.
So what you're saying,
but
Sammy,
the rest
is
of
that
the game
it's
isn't
very likely,
her.
So you're saying it's very likely that Bungie is fully aware of this reference, and that including kind of a copy paste from anti-real was an oversight, possibly.
I think it was a very, very. I don't think it was malicious. I don't think it was something. I think it's ignorance, and I think that in a lot of ways, I mean, they did not do their due diligence, but at the same time, I think that people cannot say Marathon wouldn't look the way it does had this never happened with the plagiarism, because look at that thread. I mean, just look at it.
Yeah.
Not all of that is anti-real.
Right. It establishes a history and a language that that has existed before. I think
not an artist.
Yeah.
It is a very postmodernist conversation about art creation and just the creation process in general. Is there anything truly new, or is everything that is created referential in some kind of way or from learned experience, right? So, and I think to some extent, because like there is such a wealth of art and art styles out there that I don't know that any like that we're scaffolding on the you know on the greats, right? Like on things that already exist. I definitely think that's different than you know the plagiarism piece, but I think that's a really good point, Sammy.
Like
I think they can't change. I think that people are putting it together to the. Sorry, I'm having a hard time coming up with the best way to say it because I know it's a very sensitive situation. I think, from my understanding, a lot of people are saying that Marathon looks the way it does because of Anti-Real's art.
Well,
that it was all based off of her art. And I don't think that is the case. I think it's very, very wrong and incorrect that her art was used in it at all the way that it was. But I don't think the entire UI and the entire menu systems and all of the art, the environment art, like I don't think all of the art in there was specifically based off of her. Of those few quote, decals.
Yeah.
And you know, I agree with you, Sammy. but
It's just hard to tell
unfortunately,
what the
it's to some extent that doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter if that's actually true, because it matters what the public perception is, right? Like, and if I've learned anything in the last few years, is like, if something is true, that sometimes people don't even care. Like, it's whatever they think is true that matters. So like, in that sense, I'm just trying to say that, like, I feel like damage has been done. And even if this is a very specific case of kind of plagiarism, that people will assume, like you're saying, that like all of it is coming from a plagiarized source, which is problematic. And I'm not saying that that's true. I'm just saying that it really affects public sentiment and is very problematic.
Something else there is that, like, so while this aesthetic, while this like style has existed for a while, there's no denying that like their work made it in. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a great.
completely. There's no denying it at all.
Yeah.
And so like their work made it into the thing. Like, there were icons. There was, I believe that they did they included like a less meme in there that also made it into into the alpha. And it's just like, that's just straight up like one for one.
Yeah, it's just a bad situation.
It's just a bad situation. It sucks. And like, I think like somebody in chat, I think it was Rune of Aya said the art devs have been following the artist for a while. I went through and followed everybody that Poel like mentioned in that, because I like the art style. Like, I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's future corpo, cyberpunk adjacent, like that kind of aesthetic. Like, how many of you guys have ever played Wipeout?
No.
Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. There's like a PS4 version out there. It's just a racing game with cool ships, and they go fast. It's fucking cool.
Yeah.
I think like the last version of that was like 2017, like came out. Very neat. But where was I going with this? Like, so I went through and followed all of them, and there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people who followed those accounts before too, like, like from Bungie, like, but the difference is their stuff didn't make it in, or at least that, as far as we know. So it's just, this is a tough situation, and they already have like an axe hanging over their head from Sony. Like, we're seeing seeing teams scraped off. We talk about that a little bit in the bonus episode as well. And it's just a really tough time to be there. And when there's reports of like morale falling, I don't doubt it, because it's got to be tough to be there right now. So
I think one thing that really hurts thinking about is that and I think this is why I bring up the fact that like Marathon and the art that you see in there isn't all based off of anti-real. It's not all plagiarized. Is because there's a lot of really, really good art in there that was actually original concept by Bungie artists. And there's so much really, really good stuff in there that now people are saying was all stolen from one human. And I think that plagiarism is I'm not trying to say it's okay, let's overlook it.
No, yeah.
But what I am trying to say is that there are people now that their work is invalidated because of what some stupid person did.
Yeah.
It is really unfortunate. I completely agree. Yeah.
And what they did is even putting that in their own profile or in their own portfolios, or saying they worked on it, they're an artist on Marathon, like all of that for the artists, the current devs working there, that all just weighs it down and dims it down. And
it's tough,
I had put out a tweet that was saying to the devs, mind if I just read it real quick?
Sure, go for it.
Hey, Marathon devs, I can't begin to imagine how hurt and frustrated you must feel right now. But no, it's still okay to be proud of what you've done. And there's no shame in loving what you do. What's going on with the art plagiarism doesn't dim the work or passion you put in, and I've gotten so much hate on it. I've gotten
Yeah.
hate messages from it. People saying that I'm just calling me out in very, very bad, rude terms.
Mhm.
It's
I
just
mean,
Yeah.
people
it's
always see black and white. It's
Yeah.
always like extremes. It's never like, again, the plagiarism is
Yeah.
bad. We're not even like arguing
Yeah.
anything against it, right? It is bad. It shouldn't happen. There should be some way of, again, like we said, systematically Bungie should review or so on
Yeah.
and so forth. And it's like that part, we all agree on it. It's bad. It shouldn't have happened. There should be ways to prevent it.
Right.
Like this is a thing.
Mhm.
But like Sammy said, it's not a black and white situation. It is a black and white in the sense of the plagiarism is
yeah,
bad.
and
yeah.
the plagiarism is
rest-
bad.
Yeah.
Exactly, right. We that's yes, that's a thing,
Yeah,
and that's like
that's
let's put that
bad.
aside for a minute. That part is bad. Nothing is going to change about that.
Right.
But like you said, the rest of the artists' work, all of the artists' work on this is kind of being overshadowed, and like
It's being
people
called into
saying like
question.
Yeah.
exactly, and that kind of sucks because it reminds me like there's one of my favorite artists from Bungie, which is Dima. I don't know if you guys know Dima. Dima
Uh,
Goryanov.
I don't know.
He's a senior
Mm-mm.
concept. Okay, I've been following Dima for years, ever since I stumbled upon his art, and he's a senior concept art lead at Bungie. He's been there for years, and Dima does amazing work, but he also shows his inspirations. He shows like
Mhm.
art boards and inspiration boards and so on and so forth. And I strongly recommend going to follow him on different platforms. But like it's like you'll see from Dima's work like all of his inspiration and different kind of stuff. Here, if guys people want to see his work. But like Dima takes from so many different places.
Mhm.
He does like create different work and so on and so forth. But it's like, oh, if you see this and it's inspired by this thing, it doesn't mean it's plagiarism. He was inspired by it. He was very clear that this was
Mhm.
inspired by it. He changed it. But to call into question every other artist from Marathon and say that their work is quote unquote now invalid or it's not true or whatever you want to say it, that part is like it's unfair.
Mhm.
Like you're
Sure.
destroying their work, or you're calling in the legitimacy of their work and saying like, oh no, because one person did something really bad. Again, we're not questioning the fact that this is bad. It is bad,
Mhm.
but you're just saying everybody else's work is also bad. And like, no, it's like it sucks because it puts shadows, like it casts a shadow on the rest of everybody's work.
Sure.
But it's unfair to them because
Absolutely.
Bungie does employ some amazing artists,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, and but yeah, again, it's just what a shitty situation. And
Yeah.
this is a like Poel says in the thread, it's an art language.
Mhm.
It's an art language that has been used for years. One of these logos, I was going through the thread, right? I was like, I know this logo. I'm like, this is the CBC logo in Canada. And I looked it up. It is actually the CBC logo. It used to be the CBC logo in Canada. And I was like, because that language is so strong, I could recognize it. It changed now, but it's very similar. It's an art language that has been used for decades at this point. And it is very strong language. It's easily recognizable. You
Mhm.
see that and you're like, oh, it's this style, right? It's related to this style, to this genre, and it's really cool. But yeah, if you take inspiration from that, it's so specific and there's so many very specific elements to it
Yeah.
that it's gonna call out to existing art within that language. You kind of can't escape. You can't escape that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just so
I,
There's a
specific.
thing. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So I just pulled a book off my shelf.
Yes.
That is within this style, right? Like
Mhm.
like Ryan Hughes XX, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful book. It is more an art piece than the novel. I got it mainly
Fair.
because it's an art piece.
Yeah.
But it also like
Those are
it-
art books.
Yeah, it has all the like same language in here.
Yeah. It's so highly specific. You can't go too much outside of it without losing its core, without
Mhm.
losing its nature, its essence, right?
Right.
Again, the plagiarism is bad, but you will call out to so many elements because it's such a highly specific genre that I feel like you can't really escape it. So
It
Yeah.
makes me sad because I am mutuals with a lot of Bungie devs.
Yeah.
A lot of Bungie devs. So when I wrote that post on social media, Twitter and Blue Sky, I meant it specifically for them, even if one or two of them saw it, because I know, like, after I heard morale was down, it was just, that they're just questioning things.
Yeah.
If I were there, I'd be questioning, okay, wait a second. If I was an artist, did I work off of that stolen art?
Mm.
And that's just in my core, just in my soul, that just hurts thinking about, because knowing that, okay, is my original artwork based in some way off of some stolen art? There's that question, but then also think about it kind of on a different side of that, is the people who did work off of that art, who ended up and didn't know it. I'm not saying they knew
Yes.
it, but developed a love for this art language, developed a love and skill and just a passion for this type of style.
Yeah.
And now they're questioning this passion and this love and this. I mean, they are great artists. They've developed, obviously, they've worked on this for a very long time.
Right.
It breaks my heart.
Yeah.
I'm very, 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 very sad for Anti-Real. I very much am. I'm also very, 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 very sad for the Bungie devs.
Yeah, it's a bad situation all around.
Yeah. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. And
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people see it that way, and that pisses me off.
Yeah, you don't have to take a side. Like,
Yeah.
Nuance is dead. All right. So
Thanks for letting me say that.
absolutely.
sure.
People are
You're
giving
good.
me. If I say it in any other context anywhere else, it seems like everyone's just going to be like, "Oh, so you're okay with them stealing art?"
No.
It's like, no.
You,
No,
there's
that's
only
not-
so much
no,
you can
no.
say in 240 characters too. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, people don't. There's a whole thing about media literacy that can be said right now, but I think for the
Yeah.
for the efforts and brevity and for and moving this the show along, those can be saved for another thing. I'm actually writing a class on that for the tech learning team right now, so that's fun.
That's interesting. I'm very interested in that.
Yeah. So we'll move into community questions. We'll just mosey on down the line. We have Doomhammer asks, do you think that it would be less of a story if Bungie hadn't had this exact thing happen before?
Yeah, I replied a little bit and I said it definitely wouldn't be having that much of a reach or that much of a I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but I don't think there would be having that much of a I think splash is the best word I can find at the moment. If it hadn't happened 4 times before. Or like how many times before, right? If it had been like first time, second time, again, not great. Absolutely not. It's a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. But it would have been like, oh, okay. It happened before. But, again, you work with third parties, you work with external parties. It's a thing that can happen. Should you do your work and like check your stuff? Absolutely. But can happen, sure. 4 times, 5 times?
Yeah.
You're having an issue. Like, this is bad. This is really bad. It's more than just, oh, we let something go through. You've let something go through multiple times. You've been called out on it multiple times. It is still happening. What are you doing? Like what are you doing? Check your stuff, right? So I think that yes, and it's also because people are there's a lot of hostility towards Bungie, definitely not helping. And there's a lot of people, like we've said before, a lot of people want to see Bungie fail in that regard. So, like, Bungie is like moving away a little bit from Destiny, which is their core IP, has been their core IP for a decade at this point, I believe. So people are having strong reactions to that because they're like, oh, they don't want their game to die, which I fully understand that feeling of protection. They really want to protect their game because they love their game. That's fair. So they're having a strong reaction already. And then Marathon is something that I think a lot of people did not expect out of Bungie. Again, fair. That's okay. And then it's a genre that is popular, but not extremely popular. And Bungie is trying to new twist at it, which always gets reaction out of people. You're having another game, a similar game coming out, a very similar timeline. You also have GTA, some people are saying, talking about that.
Yep.
So it's like there's so many like things that are just adding up. They just compound together that makes this, and then you add this on top of it. Oof.
It's just tough.
You're having like, it's just like, yeah, it's just bad. It's like almost a bomb kind of falling at the same time, and people are just like it's just negativity, just feeding negativity. It's just unfortunate.
All right. Any other thoughts on that?
Oh, yes.
Sure. Go for it.
That's my answer. Yes.
Yes. I have a similar answer.
All right, gotcha. We're gonna ask this next one because Tiddly, I saw that you already answered in the thing. Mr. Keelan, what's one thing that you all do to avoid burnout in Destiny 2? Let's start with you, Tiddly.
I wrote that I like to poop and play D2 at the same time to avoid burnout, which is just me being goofy because I like to write. Dan knows I like to write poop on the show run sheet somewhere. To be fair, I feel like phones in our lifetime are greatly contributing to a hemorrhoid epidemic. But that's neither here nor there. My actual answer to boredom tolerance. That's what I always say. That I genuinely continue to enjoy the game. I don't think there's a trick to it for me. I just like I'm still having fun. Maybe the trick more so is also like I do what I enjoy in the game instead of feeling like I need to do everything. Right. So if there's a title I'm not interested in, heck it, I'm not going to do it. If there's a mode I'm not interested in, heck it, I'm not going to do it. You know, I'm going to play things that I find fun with the people that I like playing the game with.
I think it's the same answer as Tiddly. I like either I don't play, like I just stop playing for a bit, which I think a lot of people do, which is not a bad thing. You don't have to play the same game every week, every day. I know it's a hard thing to learn. I've had a moment where it was difficult for me to let it go, but like stop playing for a little bit, just focus on the thing you want to do. I used to just do everything in this game, and now I'm like, you talk about Iron Banner, right? I would complete Iron Banner title every season. I would complete all the titles I could every season. Now I don't care anymore. It feels bad to say because I love this game. I used to love this game way more. I still love this game. But now I'm like, if I'm not enjoying it, if the grind is not fun, if I'm not getting what I want out of it, then I'm just not going to do it. Iron Banner is a prime example. I used to love this game mode. I used to just grind the hell out of it. And now I don't care anymore. It's not fun to me anymore. I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to do something else. Unfortunately, but that's what it is. And I think some people really need to stop stop seeing this as this, and I say that as somebody who used to do this, by the way, like just fair warning, to see this as the end all be all, like you can take breaks, you can just focus on some parts of the content, and I think it's the only I think it's the only way to still enjoy this game. I know. What?
Who takes breaks?
Who takes breaks? What?
Why would you take a break? How do you take a break? How?
What is a break?
What is a break?
Exactly.
Yes.
It is a thing, and I say that because, and I've played with people like my partner is a prime example. Like he used to play this game as much as I did, yes, and then he took a hard break for a while, and then he came back, and like, he's enjoying the game. He's not playing as much as he used to, but he still finds some stuff that he enjoys in the game. There was a point where he found no enjoyment in the game. Right. So it's like, okay, well, stop playing, right? And he was like, why do you still play this game? And I'm like, I still find enjoyment in the game in some aspects of it. And that's all I play. I just do the stuff that I like. So if you feel like you need to take a break, just take the damn break. Like, just play the stuff you want to play. You don't have to do everything.
Right.
Just games are supposed to be fun. Just have fun with it,
No,
or
games
try
are
to have
work.
fun with it. I know,
Games are
right?
work,
Well-
and they are not supposed to be fun if I am not
I
simulating
don't
an
really
actual
believe in
job,
fun.
whether that is
Yeah.
mining, working in a
I know.
factory, driving a truck. If I am not
Yep.
absolutely wasting my time constantly by punching ones and zeros into a computer, I am not playing video games. How dare you intimate
I know.
that video
So-
games
I
should
know.
be entertaining?
So
Wow.
I'll say this. I think, and we'll see how much trouble I get into for this.
Oh boy. Oh,
I'm
boy.
excited. I am excited.
I
Let's
don't
go.
want to hear this now.
Let's go.
Please.
I think streaming was a mistake.
Oh my
Because,
God.
Like, hear me out. Hear me out. It gives everybody loves games, right? Like
Yeah.
everybody, we do them to escape. We do them to connect with other people. And like when we're really passionate about something, we've seen that like through social media, we can get really involved and advance in it. That's why we're all in on this podcast, right? Like, because this is like a thing that we all enjoy, that we have opinions on. We wanted to express those opinions and get those out into the public, right? So like also think that like the culture around streaming sometimes feeds, depending on who the streamer is, feeds into the constant conversation about like a certain topic in a certain genre, and they just harp on it and harp on it and harp on it, as you can see with like Asmongold like right now, raising a legion of shitheads, and like I think in some ways it was a mistake, not in all ways. There's like all the people here that are like building communities are trying to do it in like a very wholesome way, and like trying to do it the right way by building true relationships with the people that they're with, and not trying to just scour them for numbers and views and clicks and shit. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna go grandma mode and be like, back in my days.
Yeah.
Because I've been on Twitch for way too long. But I remember, no, for real, I've been on Twitch for like a
Yeah.
decade. It's so bad.
Oh, I know. I remember when you were
like-
helping to coach me.
Dude, like
Dude.
but that's the thing, right? I've seen this site evolve, and I've seen streaming evolve.
Yeah.
Because back then, I'm sorry, back in my days, back then I remember like the biggest content creator were very much people that just gathered a community around them
Mm-hmm.
and were creating content because they enjoyed it, not to make a living out of it. Because it wasn't quite really a thing you could do back then.
Right.
You created, like, you streamed because you enjoyed a game, you wanted
Mhm.
to share that game with people, and you just wanted to hang out with people while you were playing that game, right? That's the basis of streaming.
Mhm.
Technically, it's you play a game, you want to share that game with people, and you want to play the game while like having conversation, chatting, or just, hanging out with people. And you didn't really make money back then. Like there were
Right.
some partnered streamers, but there were like not that many. And so like the core of it was just sharing and creating, like you said, a community that just came along with it, but it wasn't the reason for it. Let's call
Right.
it that. And then and the streams were super basic, people. Like they were
Mhm.
so basic. You had like a microphone, the sound wasn't that great, the quality of the stream wasn't that great, but it didn't matter. You just wanted to hang out with the people that were streaming. You wanted to, like you said, build a little bit of a relationship
Mhm.
and just watch the game being played. And then it started to become more and more refined, which is not a bad thing. But as it became more and more refined, and as people started to realize, hey, you can make money out of this, right?
Mhm.
You can not only can you make money out of it, you can make a living out of it. Then it started, not
Yeah.
everybody, but for some people, it started to be really performative.
Mhm.
It wasn't about sharing your joy of a game or creating a community around, your enjoyment of games.
Yeah.
It started to become a job. And that kind of took away like I don't want to say the pureness of it, but like
Right.
it's took away a
So-
little bit of that, and it became this big thing.
So, Steph, what I'm hearing is capitalism is
You're gonna make me say things. What? Yes, yeah. Capitalists ruin everything. That's quite unfortunately true, though.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, dude. One of the biggest name on the platform was Day9. You know what Day9 used to do back in the day? Like he's not really doing that anymore. But I remember that's how I discovered him. He would like go over StarCraft 2 replays
Mm-hmm.
and like just break it down and like shoutcast the replay. Like that was one of the biggest thing
Yeah.
on Twitch. Do you know how nerdy that shit is?
It's very nerdy.
Like, it's fucking nerdy
Yeah.
as fuck. Like, I'm so sorry. I love Day9. I loved watching his content. Amazing, like, person and everything. But like, that was nerdy. That was super like gamer nerd, like crazy stuff. And then it started to become more and more of a thing. And then brands started to become involved. And then video game companies started to become involved. And then again, yeah, it became a capitalist thing where it
Yeah.
become, well, it's not just about sharing your love of the game. It's about making money out of it. And that always
Yeah.
takes away some of the, I don't know, it takes away something.
it does
so, yeah,
become a job.
it's-
like at a certain
yeah,
point, it becomes a
exactly.
job. And like,
Yeah.
that's some. So circling back to the original question that I tangented us completely off of. I like how do I get over burnout from Destiny 2? I play other games. I try to do other hobbies. I
Sure.
try to
You don't have a
to
choice.
work on other shit. Yeah, you just have to work
You
on
have
other
to do that.
things, and preferably
Yep.
things that you don't monetize is like the thing that I'm
Mhm.
doing right now. Is like trying to like focus on that and being like, I'm making this because I like making it, because I feel I need to express it and I need to say it, and not so much because there's a monetary reward on the other end.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
A different
Yeah.
kind of carrot,
Yeah.
as you will. Yes.
I agree.
Yeah. Sammy, what about you?
So my answers, I don't really fully have an answer
Yeah.
in that my burnout comes a lot from waiting
Mm-hmm.
to play this game.
You're right.
Waiting
sorry.
to do a lot of what I wanted. Waiting for Ghost to the
Aw.
Deep. No,
And it's back. And we're back to the rant.
What I want to do, the things that I want to do, when I play Destiny 2, the video game, they aren't always available. So when I
Mhm.
set a challenge for
Yeah.
myself, I like to just invest in that challenge a lot. But being that things are time gated, being that things are time limited, they're rotational, there are weeks where there's just nothing for me to do in game. And then I just get antsy
Right.
and I don't
Yeah.
really know what to do. So I actually kind of have an opposite problem of other people where I don't know what to do, waiting to do
The
the
things
thing
that you
I
care
want
about.
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's completely valid.
I get burnout from waiting.
That's fair. That's so fair.
Yeah. Next question. We'll ask a couple more of these, and then we'll go off into that night. Gray Fox, what is a Sherpa mechanic that you would like to be implemented into into future Destiny content?
Explorer mode. Sorry. I really love it. I think they did a great job with it. I'm gonna give shit to Bungie when they do stuff badly, but I'm gonna give them praise when they do stuff correctly. And I think that Explorer mode or variations of it, because I don't think it can be applied exactly the same on everything.
Mm-hmm.
But if they can make a variation of it, Explorer mode is fantastic. It was really well done. It shows you what to do without holding your hand too much. It's kind of just nudging you in the right direction. And I think that they need to implement that for more stuff. All the dungeons, please, first and foremost. But if they can find a way to iterate on that with raids, I think it'd be great too. I think Explorer mode was really well made, and they need to keep working on it, in my opinion. So,
Mhm.
and I'm not a Sherpa, sorry, but as a random ass person, it was really good. So please keep doing that.
Tiddly, what about you, bud?
I think explore mode is a really obvious answer. I mean, I wish Epic Dan was here because he's
Yeah.
definitely way more. He's probably the most Sherpa-y person in the group, probably followed by you, Danfinity. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think a little bit maybe about availability of ammo or weapons since everyone has a different kit. So maybe some kind of mode where you had easier access to all of that. You know, so like
Yeah.
unlimited ammo and then unlimited any arsenal that you want. That could be kind of interesting, I feel like. But
I think I know what I would want.
yes.
So with an explorer mode, right? Like you had to explain mechanics in a very simple way. I would also like to see if like a Sherpa mode or a Sherpa toggle onto that, where
Yeah.
like you choose one person in the group as the Sherpa, right? And
Okay.
for some puzzles or for some for jumping puzzles and things like that, that it would create a tracer for those who did not know.
Oh, like a little like
That's
laser
adorable.
pointer or something.
Well, it would. Well, no. That it would like. So the Sherpa would like go and do the thing, and it would show their path, so that somebody who is like running behind is like, oh, okay, so I need to go over here and then jump down here and then like move.
So you're saying you don't stay with people as they do jumping puzzles?
Listen here, I don't have the time.
The Gorgons won't let you do that all the time, you know.
That's very true.
And then
Yeah.
me, I'm thinking about like, oh, maybe I could just run in circles for a really long time in
Right,
this
right.
one spot
Yeah, yeah.
to confuse them.
I mean, they kind of did implement that with the effects, right? With the running effects. Sammy, I
Sure.
saw your video of like the hearts and everything.
It was
like,
very
Oh, yeah, the
confusing to
effects,
me. I didn't
yeah.
like it.
oh, okay, gotcha. Kind of like in
Well,
racing games where
I
you see
had
a
it-
ghost card showing the fastest lap. Right. Like something
Yeah.
along those lines, like could be helpful
It's a
to
cool
some
idea.
folks.
It's a cool
Yeah.
idea.
I think that
Now I want a
kill-
laser pointer though.
Oh no,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, if I could draw like I have this in OBS, I have this as a dock thing where I can just draw directly onto the screen and be like, you want to shoot this and you want to shoot this and you want to shoot this. And that is insanely helpful. But Cryo Phoenix, I think, has like it right on the money. Is like I advocate for a ping system, not just for the Sherpa, but game wide.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Ping
I
system,
agree.
100%.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Take out this enemy and then take out this enemy.
Yep.
Like, that would be great. Go ahead, Sammy. Sorry.
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say.
My apologies.
That happens to me all the time. I'm so sorry.
My apologies.
It probably wasn't important.
I probably was, but it's okay. Brain goes burr.
Brain goes burr. This one goes out to Sammy specifically, and we'll kind of close it out there. Does Sammy think bows are in a good spot? Is that before you start? Is this one of those things where, like, as you start, is it going to be long enough where, like, of a thing where I can just kind of fade it out, and that's the end of the episode?
This is going to be quite fast, and it might be very disappointing. But
Sounds like
I
my
don't.
ex.
Oh my god.
Tell me
Prom
about it.
night. Anyways, go ahead.
But bub.
I don't know. I don't know if they're in a good spot or not because
Mhm.
I
Because
don't know because I don't play like other people play.
Oh yeah. Is it?
So compared to like other weapons,
Uh-huh.
if
So
I
it's
or I think
a
they
lack
should
of
be
comparison?
stronger. I think maybe
Yeah.
that's where it is. Because I'll be honest, like I could go into a dungeon, which I do, you know, and my DPS is going to be DPS, and how I kill the different ads and my strategies are going to be
Mhm.
what I do. I don't have any comparison to it.
You just don't use
I don't know
other
if they
guns.
should be stronger or if
Yeah.
they are too strong. I don't want them to be stronger because then this is what happens. This is the only little thing I'll go into that's a little more intense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is if I were to say, oh, they could be buffed a little bit and then they're buffed, then people start using bows. And then when people start using bows, especially in Crucible, people are like,
Yeah.
oh, bows are too OP, blah, 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 this and that wrong. And then Bungie thinks they need to change them again.
Across the board.
Yeah.
So if I just say bows are okay and they don't ever touch bows, then I don't have to worry about them ruining bows. So if they're in a good spot, I think I'll just say yeah. Or even if they're in a bad spot, I'll just say yes.
Fair enough. Actually, you know what? This question just came up, and we're going to end with this. And we'll do. Then we'll exit out of here. Oh man, I died asked, if you need a longer discussion to end, do you think exotics and loot in general needs to be more rare, more oof as grind?
No. I think that I think we talked about that a while ago. I think that one of the issue that Bungie is facing right now is that there is quote unquote too much loot. I'm gonna try to explain that. When crafting became a thing, it wasn't a bad thing. Crafting wasn't a bad thing. I actually think it was a good idea. But what ended up happening is that every season you would get 5 to 6 weapons that you needed to grind to get the pattern to be able to craft. Do we need 5 to 6 weapons every season? Most of like at least half of which are just not interesting, not good, not worth it. I don't think so. I think that what they should have gone for instead is to go with like 2 to 3 weapons every season, but make it really interesting, really fun, really worth it weapons. I think it became an issue of there is so many weapons you can get in this game. Old ones, new ones, reprised ones, so on and so forth. And it just became this thing of like, I think a prime example of that is Season of the Deep, I think, where it was like reprised weapons from Gambit, but it was like twice reprised because you had the weapons from Gambit, like spare rations and whatnot, but then you also had the taken version of it. Like, why? Why are you reprising the same weapons twice in the same season? And some were craftable, some were not craftable. That's fine, whatever. But I don't know. I think it became a thing of like there was just so many weapons, a lot of which are just not really useful, not really good, not really anything. I think that it shouldn't be more like it shouldn't be more difficult to get them. I think it should be more of a thing of there shouldn't be so many things you have to get. I think that's my opinion on this. Like, give me less weapons every season, every expansions, every whatever.
But make them
but
more
give
meaningful.
Me more meaningful, more interesting. Because there are some exotics that are incredibly interesting. They're not really useful, but they're really interesting and they're really fun. So I think they should focus a bit more on that. Make the weapons more meaningful, more interesting. I don't need 6 weapons every season. I don't think anybody needs 6 weapons every season. But that's just me.
Heck yeah. Anybody else?
I think that there is certainly an importance of having loot in a looter shooter game. But at this point, because there is so much loot and so much of it is bad, I find myself deleting almost everything I acquire.
Yep.
So the grind becomes not then for specific exotics or specific legendaries. It becomes for specific roles on those that will make them less shit. That makes sense. So like that's for me that the grind is shifted from I need to get X weapon. I guess to some extent it's always been about role too, but
yeah.
You know, like it's become that persnickety. It's like their loot is a problem. Loot is a problem. I think that sunsetting overtuned it in the opposite direction, and now we're overtuned in the I don't have a reason to play the game because I don't need anything anymore direction.
Yeah.
We need something in the middle. We need a Goldilocks loot situation.
Fair enough.
I want to turn off getting loot for some situations and in some activities. And
You're like, that's what I'm saying. It feels like like I'm getting
It's
showered
not-
with junk.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I got a piece of armor to drop. Oh, it's going to be below a 60 stat, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, at this point, I it's so crazy. I keep 60. It has to be 65. If it's under 65, I'm deleting it. I'm not even looking.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's junk. That's
Agreed.
junk. That's junk. This
That's
is
what
junk.
I did,
This is
and it was a pinnacle last night. Yeah.
oh,
Mm,
well, that's a problem.
yeah.
That you're doing master.
Sorry.
That's a problem.
I've done that with weapons too. I'm like, oh, I don't need that. I'm like, oh
This is
shit, it was a
trash.
pinnacle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they did take out blue loot too, so this is
Yeah.
even better than it.
So
Yeah.
I'll say this.
I feel like we got better results having too much blue loot than we do having too much purple loot.
Oh my
Well-
god,
It could
it's
be.
everything feels like trash. It's so sad.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Like
I'm-
nothing is exciting anymore, and there's way too many in the game too.
mhm.
You know, now you have to enter like a game hack code in order to use an exotic because they run out of ideas. You have to go down, down, up, up, left, right, and then the exotic will activate. Now it's because they've run out of
Yeah.
ideas. It's like, come on,
Oh my god, dude.
am I wrong though?
No, you're not wrong. You're not
No.
wrong. I'll say this. We all know I delete my vault.
Yes.
Yes.
I
I'm
have
jealous.
I have worked on keeping my vault manageable over the past couple of months, except for like recently. I would say like within the last month and a half. I want everybody here, without looking on API tools, to guess how many items I have in my vault at this moment. Sammy, let's start with you.
How many weapons?
How many
Oh my God,
items is in my are in my
items.
vault
Wait.
right now?
Question.
Yes.
Can I ask some
I'm open to
couple
questions.
So here's two questions. First
Okay.
one, what day did you empty your vault?
Was that back in March? I think that was like early March.
Okay. Second question. Have you been, oh, I don't know if this is a fair question. Have you been going for the weapon rolls for Rite of the Nine?
No. Typically I do not chase rolls. I just
Okay.
receive things and then just scour through and be like, I want to keep this, I want to keep this, I want to keep this, and then delete what I don't. Typically.
Okay. All right, last question.
Okay.
When you go through them, do you actually like go through them, or do you throw them in your vault to deal with later? This is a big question.
I am in avid farming mode.
Oh.
I don't know what
User.
that means.
It's
In
You farm
Destiny Item
everything-
Manager, there's a
Yeah.
there's a function where you can turn on farming mode. It leaves one spot open on your character, and it shoves everything
goes
into
to
your
your vault.
vault that
Yep.
that would take up that extra spot.
I think you have 56 pieces.
56 pieces. Okay. Anybody else? Tiddly?
You said you've been trying to keep it manageable?
I had been, but recently I've failed.
I'm going 640.
640? Okay.
I'm going 500.
You're
A
going
little bit
500.
lower.
Okay.
Is this like Price is Right rules? Whatever.
So
I want-
Wait, I want to
now-
change my answer.
Okay.
So wait, you said you hadn't been good about it lately.
I haven't been good about it lately.
I'm
I
gonna
think it's
go
gonna be
with
a bit higher.
317.
Okay.
Okay.
The actual number of items that are in my vault right now, 696.
I was closest. What do I win?
You get the world famous
Wait,
Stanfinity
you're-
no prize.
Oh.
You're worse than me. Do you understand that? You're worse than me.
No.
And like I went down a lot,
Oh,
and now I
man.
need to go back because I farmed a bunch of stuff. But like, Dan,
Oh, I
you
need to
shouldn't
purge.
be worse than me.
Believe
I'm
me, I know I
notorious
need
for
to
being
purge.
bad with that.
It's like you know you need to clean your vault because you can't put anything in it anymore.
Yeah, you can't-
and
you can't
do
transfer
shit, you can't
items
play.
on disk.
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
like,
my
God.
it is time. It is now time
Yeah.
for me to go in and do
That's
the
how I know.
ceremonial cleaning where I delete 40 things and then it's full again in 2 2 days.
It's so sad.
It'll be easy because I know
Oh.
that there's some weapons in there that I don't even use at all, and it's just
Yeah.
like those are instantly gone.
Yeah.
Like anything that's under 65 is gone. Like
Yes.
But,
there's
yeah.
some easy
yeah, easy purges. But yeah. Anyways, I think that's good enough to end out tonight's episode. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with us
Thank
for
you.
episode 101 of the Destiny Digest podcast. Why don't we tell the people where they can find us on the internet? Sammy, let's start with you, buddy.
You guys can find me on twitch.tv/Samikat. I am also Samikat on YouTube, as well as Blue Sky, and then Samikat Plays on Twitter and TikTok.
Heck yeah. Anything major coming up this week outside of Master Ghost of the Deep for you?
You know, I think maybe, but let's just go with Master Ghost of the Deep.
Okay, gotcha.
I will be live a lot this week. I have not been streaming much at all this month because of health, but we're just going to throw that to the wayside and just kill ourselves going for Master Ghost of the Deep.
Hard earned. Eseipha, what about you, friend?
You can find me on Blue Sky. That's pretty much my last thing. I use the other social just for my own consumerism, not really for interacting with people. So Blue Sky, just Eseipha, same as my name. You can skeet. I still hate that word. Skeet at me over there.
Skeet.
Skeet.
Yeah,
Skirt.
I knew you guys were gonna do that.
Skeet.
The skeet thing.
Can't avoid it. Nothing really. I want to finish. I'm gonna keep playing some video games, but I want to finish The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. Started it last week as a buddy read. By the way, buddy reads are amazing. If you guys like to read but feel like it's a bit of a lonely activity, buddy reads are just super fun.
Okay.
You just pick up the same book as a person. So technically, what a buddy read is very simple. It's actually like
It's
super
a
fun, but
2-person book group.
Yeah,
No.
that's exactly what I was thinking.
Well, kind of, but you can have more than 2 people. You can invite a bunch of people. It's a book group if you want, but it's a very laid back way of doing it.
It's
So
a
just pick up the
support
same
group
book.
for people who are addicted to reading.
Kind of. You pick up the same. Somebody picks up a book, whatever. You agree on a book. You start reading the book, and then Storygraph is the app that I use for this. As you go through Storygraph, you go through the book. You can add comments based on a page you're in. Let's say you're page, I don't know, 97, something funny happened, something good or whatever. You can just say like, oh my God, this was so funny. Love that character, whatever. You put the comment there, and then the person won't see your comment until they're at the same place in the book. So nothing is spoiled for them, and
That's
you can
cool.
interact with the comment, right? You can reply to their comment and say like, yes, I love that, or no, like that was not, like, whatever. Like you can interact with it, and then you can keep doing that while you read through the book. So it's a way to kind of share a book without having to be on the same page all the time together, because some people read really quickly. I'm somebody that usually reads really quickly. My friend who I'm doing this buddy read with, Lovely, she reads a little bit slower. And nothing wrong with that, but we're different like speed of reading.
Right.
So it's really fun to do that. And then you see what people think about that, like what your friend thinks about that book, and just share kind of, it's a way of sharing your love of book with somebody else. And it's really fun. So I highly recommend for people that love reading, find it sometimes it can be a bit isolating. Do a buddy read with a friend of yours. It's really fun. It's really engaging, and it makes you finish books often also, which is really nice. So
Heck
yeah, other
yeah.
than that, other than reading, playing some Destiny, playing some Diablo, nothing. That's my life right now.
Tiddly, what about you, friend?
I am twitch.tv/Tiddly, Monday through Central. This week I will be doing a little bit of everything. I'm doing GMs tomorrow, doing a new tabletop game thing on Tuesday morning, and then Ghost at Reset.
Cool.
I'm doing I'm helping out with a flawless raid tomorrow. Doing probably some Overwatch, doing probably some Marvel Rivals. Then also on Friday, I want that has in Vengeance with the Elemental Ordnance. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You can find me on
Okay.
Blue Sky also, and that is Tiddly on Blue Sky.
Perfect. What's the tabletop thing?
Yeah. I think it's called Daggerheart.
Oh yeah,
heard of
it's
it?
the Critical Role. Yeah, it's the Critical Role.
Yeah.
Engine.
So my friend Revealing is really into it, and he's
Mm-hmm.
a podcast on it actually.
Cool.
And we're having like a Daggerheart kind of like hang party on Tuesday.
That's cool.
But if you're interested, I'll hook you in.
Yeah, I would love to watch that.
Yeah.
Like that seems like a really cool system. So, yeah, perfect. Well, my name is Danfinity. You can find me everywhere, basically DanfinityGG. You can find my website, danfinity.gg. I'd prefer you go there over anywhere else. This week, we'll probably play a little bit of Destiny just because Ghost of the Deep. We'll just suffer through that a little bit.
Sure.
Yep.
I'm planning on playing some Clair Obscure in the next couple of weeks. Bungie, or not Bungie, Sony had a sale on some games, and so like I picked up Ghost of Tsushima.
Ooh.
So like the director's cut was like something like $30 or something along those
Yeah,
lines.
good
So
deal. Nice.
I got that, and then we also have Elden Ring's Night Rain coming at the end of the month. So I'm thinking about doing a few streams of that. So those are the best ways to keep up to date with me. As always, thank you for listening to the show. Remember to rate and review. It helps us out in the algorithm. And I hope you find what you're grinding for.